Ready to write? This is your idea, by the way, Thomas. Which
Thanks,
is
Thomas.
it was a brilliant idea. And obviously we want to see if it's going to turn into a better show than with the boys. It was a good show. I don't know if you guys heard that show. Did you guys hear that one?
I saw some of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see. But obviously we're just going to, that's it. I start the shows by saying welcome. Welcome to the show, everybody. Really appreciate you spending time and making the time to be on the show so we can actually talk about your trade and talk about everything that's going on in the industry. You guys got the talking points that I sent you. And I just want everybody one by one to introduce yourselves. If we can start with you. Laura. I'm terrible with names. Sorry. So Laura, we can begin with Laura first.
Okay, so I'm Laura. I'm a third-year plumbing apprentice, and I mostly do service in the GTA. So I'm a commercial service apprentice plumber. And on Instagram, I'm known as My Plumbing Adventure.
Nice. Email or website or anything you want to share? Whatever you guys want to share.
I mostly just use Instagram. I played a little bit with TikTok, but like that audience there is vicious and deranged, and I'm pretty good with not using that platform at all.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
And we have Megan next to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan, and I've worked in the plumbing industry for almost 8 years now. I'm currently in school for my level 3 plumbing advanced, so I'm looking forward to being licensed. I work in the city of Hamilton doing mostly service work, so...
Lots of service in Hamilton.
Lots of service, yeah.
And then on our Zoom here, we have, we have Marianne first.
Yeah, sure. My name is Marianne Bocott. I live in Sauk, British Columbia, Canada. I have been in construction for 19 years, plumbing 15, I believe. And I own my own company, have for almost 9 years. I am the _lady plumber. I'm on TikTok and Instagram.
And last but not least,
I am Danielle Brown, Littlest Plumber on Instagram. I have been in the plumbing industry now for 17 years. I did mechanic before that for 5 years. I live in St. John's, Newfoundland, all the way on the east coast of Canada.
Woo!
So welcome. Thank you so much. So we've got quite the time zone because it's noon-ish our time, and obviously it's 9 o'clock in BC, and then what is it in Newfoundland right now? 2 hours?
1:45.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We have our own special time zone.
Ah, great.
Really? It's 1:45?
Yeah, we have a half an hour time zone.
And all you...
Bizarre. I didn't know that.
And all you guys know each other,
Newfies
right?
are so weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've met Danielle in Ohio.
Which
when I was
Right,
there
yeah.
for the rigid experience.
Okay,
But
all right.
She was there for the
And
OD.
myself and Laura, we go way back.
Yep. OD
I have
ambassadors.
yet to meet Marianne, but I look forward to that. I imagine myself and
One
Marianne
day.
are probably going to be at the next pipeline. I imagine.
What's the next trade show that you guys are going to be
love trade
attending? Are you guys planning the trade show season?
CMPX.
Yeah, CMPX.
That's
in
right. It's happening
Toronto.
in March, right?
I
March
believe so.
or April?
2024, yeah.
March, yeah.
What is that one? I never know about
It's
any
the
of
biggest
these
plumbing
until
and
Toronto
heating. Yeah, it's a big show every other
Oh,
year.
just the
Yeah, every
biggest
2
one
years.
ever.
I think it's the biggest in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah, it was told to
I
say
don't think I've
that.
even been to one in Canada.
No, neither have I.
It's
I'm
amazing.
going to go to Wet this year.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really? Nice. Yay. I'm going to PHCC, and then I'm going to go to WET and hopefully AHR. Since they're
Oh,
back to
yeah,
back
WET.
and you're going all the way.
Mhm.
Yay, that's exciting.
Yeah.
What's wet? I don't know. I know wet from fireplaces.
Oh yeah, Wet certified.
Yeah, wet
right?
certified, right? So
Yeah.
what's wet in plumbing? I'm just curious
No.
myself.
I don't know. I just
Have you been to the Wet
I'm
show,
not
Mary?
too sure. I've never been.
Yeah, I went last year.
But they,
So you're
This
better
year.
off speaking on it because this will be my first time going.
are you going to
it's-
Indianapolis? Is that
Don't
where
quote
it's?
me on what it's wastewater. Oh my god, I have to look it up. Wastewater something.
Oh, so it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
two
about
W's.
It's about wastewater. Yeah.
Okay, so two W's
Wastewater
and then
and
an
septic.
E and a 1 T or something. Wait, the fireplace one is WETT.
Two T's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 T's.
Yeah, this is two W's.
Okay, all right.
Equipment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious. Someone is probably yelling at the speaker right now or the AirPods going,
Yeah.
I mean,
this is how it is, right?
It's an exhibition of where the wastewater treatment companies can get together and
That was
kind of
in there?
show off. Yeah.
Got it.
You
Now
kinda
I
go
got
off
it.
with, like, what they got, the new industry secrets and the new life altering plumbing technologies that we all want to see.
All the way
Yeah.
back from the
It was
Romans
pretty
right to
cool.
modern
It was
day.
pretty cool.
So
I bought
I
a jetter while I was there.
do want to do a shout out to the doll valve man. Doll is in the house here. Thank you so much, Thomas, for organizing this, and I really appreciate it. And unfortunately, are you going to mail them stickers?
Yeah,
You should mail them. He's brought new stickers here, guys, like really cool stickers.
Those are huge.
I know, they're massive, like the size of my head. It's like
I asked for 3 by 4 inches. And they
make the logo bigger, if anything. You know what I mean? Make the logo much bigger. No, thank you, Thomas. It's great. So I obviously there's a slight delay, and we'll try to not step on everybody, but we'll just I don't want to really create a podcast that's like Q&A. I don't. Everyone that's listened to the show is like, I'll start to sleep and it's just like it doesn't make any sense. We want to have a conversation, right? So I totally open, and you guys can share as much as you guys want to share. But I guess my first question to all of you guys is why plumbing? Why that specific trade? One of the top 3 of the industry. But why did you guys choose plumbing? Or I always like to say, why did plumbing choose you guys?
I started going into plumbing because I didn't like where I was working my office job. And I thought going into plumbing was going to be easy, which was a very...
Where did you get that idea from?
I have no idea. I thought it was...
Yeah, I want to know who told you that.
I thought I would be turning a wrench and just making a lot of money, and that would be the end of it, but that was not it. I did a pre-apprenticeship program at Humber College, which taught me essentially the basics of plumbing. So things like slope, all those very basic concepts were...
Venting?
Yep.
Okay.
They were completely new to me. And when I started to learn about it on like the academic portion of plumbing, I realized that it's more than turning a wrench. And then my professors were so passionate about it, and I realized like this is going to be an awesome job. So
that's the reason why you started from there.
yeah, actually, I started because I thought it was going to be easy, and then when I started learning about it, I realized that this is going to be hard, but it's going to be very rewarding and very, I don't know, it just seems like one of the coolest jobs ever, and I still think that.
I think it's, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess at the end of your career, it becomes easy. Once you've learned everything and you guys are pros and you get on the job site and you can turn a wrench, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm in awe of some plumbers that get on sites and I'm like, how did you figure that out? How did you do that so quickly? Well, it's all experience, right? So I guess you get towards easy.
Maybe from right now, the struggle is real. But I don't know, Danielle, how is it? Tell me it gets better.
It gets better.
Does it?
Yeah.
I think my patience,
Sorry, what was that?
my patience has been better. Like I feel like I'm not as stressed out as I used to be, because like the challenges that I had before were great, whereas now it's not as, and I'm more confident in my ability to do my job now more than before. So it kind of relieves a lot of stress in that way.
Nice.
Marianne?
My story is a little bit different. I was roofing before, and that's a whole nother story how I got into that. But I ended up in commercial. So I started in residential roofing, and then I moved over to commercial, and I hated it. I actually really don't like commercial anything. I was stuck on the same jobs for months at a time, and some of them were like 2 hours away from where I lived. So it was kind of a drag. So I decided to do the Women in Trades exploration course that they offered at our local trades college. And back then, like, remember, this is 15 plus years ago, the course wasn't as good as it is now. And I tried out a bunch of different trades. I honestly don't even think I finished the course. But the plumbing wall, or the plumbing like area shop, they had outside of the wall this display cabinet of all these PVC fittings. Like, we don't even really deal with PVC much here, but PVC fittings, and they're all like glued together with primer and glue, like just dripping and everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way that I am getting into that trade. I wanted absolutely no part of it.
Did you find out who was responsible for that display and bury them?
No, I never did. I think they took it down eventually. But I peppered people for a job in any other trade that was, minus maybe drywall and concrete or whatnot. But I tried to get a job in any other trade, and it was impossible. It was like starting all over again. And yeah, plumbing was the first one that came my way. I knew a mutual friend that owned a company, and pestered him for like 2 years, I think. And then he finally went through like a streak of bad employees, and then he called me up one day and offered me an apprenticeship. And
What
I was
was
like,
his
well,
what was his reluctance at first if he was just waiting off on 2 years? I'm just curious. Wasn't ready to expand or bring on new people?
I don't know. I mean, he never said, but I'm sure it had to do with something that I had no experience in plumbing. There possibly could have been the woman factor. Who knows? I don't know. And it was a different time then. It's not like it is now where you can just pick a job and decide that that's what you're going to do. I mean, that's how it is here. You want to be a mechanic? Sweet. Great. You have a job tomorrow. It was a challenge to find work back then. And you had to work to keep your job, and you had to work to prove yourself to stay in that spot on the ladder, and so switching trades I literally had to start all over again. It didn't matter that I had experience with tools, experience on job sites. It was starting all over again. Yeah.
Is it easier for women
finding the first job?
Is it easier for women these
days? To find jobs now?
No, for women these days, yeah. Is it easier for them to find a place?
Oh yeah. Oh,
you guys, okay.
Yeah, the sky's the limit for women now. Here, anyways, I don't know about like in the States or other places in Canada, but here, if you want to do something, you have all the opportunities to do it, 100%. So long as you can work, you still have to work.
Yeah, there's that part.
To some degree, the workers these days are a little different than the workers back then, but no offense, ladies, no offense, but it's a different time now for sure. Yeah.
And Danielle?
I mean, just to start off, yeah, it's definitely a different day and age now than when I first started. But that's a beautiful thing to see for sure. And Newfoundland, same way. If a woman wants to get into any trade, it's applauded. I think we have the most women in the trades in all of Canada, and that's not per capita.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, I started, like I said, in plumbing 17 years ago. Right out of high school, I got a job at a garage working on cars, and I did that for a while, and it became a great hobby. I love it, and I always knew I was going to get into mechanics anyways. I mean, there's photos of me as toddlers with spanners in my hand and wrenches in my hand. So awesome. I knew I wasn't going to be an academic, as it were. And, I did the car thing. It's fun. I still work on my truck all the time. But I knew I wanted to get into a trade where I was going to work with hand tools. And I wanted a trade that was always going to be needed. And plumbing makes so much sense. Plumbing's not going to go anywhere, So to me, it's the perfect trade for playing with tools, and you're super necessary. So got in, switched careers, went to plumbing apprentice school. Right out the gate, I got a job at a commercial gig, did that for 4 years, and then I switched to service. I've been doing service ever since.
Now, do you guys prefer commercial or residential?
I prefer
commercial.
Residential, commercial, Marianne?
Residential.
Residential,
I made that
commercial.
pretty clear. Residential.
Oh, so it's a split. It's 50-50 here, huh? Mm. So I'm curious on why, because I know reasons I've heard from other people about commercial versus residential. I guess with commercial, you have more control of your trade.
I feel like when I go into a commercial setting, I'm greeted by people who work for the building that I'm going to begin servicing, and they know the building very well. The information that they can pass on to you is actually helpful, and because they're employees of the building, there's a degree of professionalism there. So I can definitely appreciate that part.
Marianne, you're the same way on commercial side?
Commercial. So I have a very different experience with commercial. Mine's quite the opposite, actually.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Mind you, it's been a long time since I've worked on commercial jobs. Like I do light commercial, like I'll do commercial gas, and that's pretty much it. I won't dive into plumbing at all because I just don't like commercial. I don't like being stuck on the same jobs day in and day out. And I have found personally that when I go on to commercial jobs, the respect I get is like way unbelievably lower than on residential jobs, because residential jobs, people already know that I'm coming. They already know that a woman is going to show up because it's a team of women, so they already have an idea as to who's going to show up. Whereas when I go to when I used to go to commercial jobs, I would get talked down to. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. You're an apprentice, apparently. You could be a journeyman for like 10 years, but you're an apprentice because you're a woman. You must have just started yesterday. And those are always the experience that I had on commercial jobs. So
to be fair, actually, I have noticed
and
that too.
If somebody, oh really?
Yeah, I have noticed that too. Kind of just omitted that part, but yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
I worked in a commercial for 6 months. I did a lot of digging, which wasn't really exactly my favorite. But when I got into residential, I really just liked the aspect of helping people. I think there's a lot of things that you can do in the plumbing industry to help people, and I think that is one of the most, like, the biggest motivators for me in residential.
Yeah.
Problem solving. You guys want to work together as a team and solve problems, right?
Yeah.
That's what your trade's all about. I mean, I want to talk a little bit about it, but I mean, you guys are still seeing the stigma, being a woman in trades.
A little bit, yeah.
It's still there.
I've been told that I have a masculine privilege, so can
you please?
I do
What does that mean?
Where I present masculine, I wear masculine clothes. I'm tattooed head to toe. I think men tend to feel a bit more comfortable around me when I walk onto the job site, that they can act themselves around me, which not necessarily is a great thing, but I do have a different lived experience than a lot of the feminine plumbers that I know. I definitely haven't had, the harassment stories that a lot of the female plumbers I know have witnessed, or the dismissive attitudes or anything like that. I definitely, whether or not it's because of what I look like, I have no idea. But I've been told that there's a privilege that comes with looking slightly masculine.
That's news to me.
Yeah, I have a different experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to get an idea of the schools. I wanted to go back to the colleges because I know you guys did some sort of training at some point, and most tradespeople do that. Gone, I think, are the days of you're just family and you're one of the offspring, or you're connected to a cousin or an uncle or somebody, and you automatically get thrown into construction. I think those days are very, very few. But I mean, are the schools doing enough to get tradespeople in general into trades, or can we do more? Do you guys have some thoughts on what else can we do to get the colleges and the apprenticeship programs and the government? I know this is a big question. This is a massive question, but what are the simplest things that we can do to attract more people into trades?
Get into the high schools.
Agreed.
Started sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I would have started sooner if I would have known that there was resources available for people who wanting to get into the plumbing industry. I would have started sooner because, I mean, I was 17 and on my own, living on my own, and I was trying to find ways to just be independent and it wasn't until I got into plumbing that, it really helped me out.
There was a direction there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you were shown that direction sooner, you probably would have got in sooner, and then you would have had more motivation sooner.
I would think so, but I am kind of glad the way it all worked out though in the end, because I've learned a lot. So, but yeah, also like social media, I think has a lot to play into. Well,
you guys, all four of you, are influencing more and more people to come into this industry, especially women. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I would think that.
I think everybody on this panel definitely has an influence on the women who are really unsure. I know I'm sure all of us have had people in our DMs say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys conscious?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mary.
Sorry.
No, I know it's a Zoom thing.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I think that even getting in before high school, like the most interest I've had, to be honest, is from elementary and that kind of age group. I think that if they are introduced to it at a younger age, then at least it's kind of a bug in their head for when they have those dreams of, becoming a doctor or an astronaut or, whatever, veterinarian or whatever their goals are when they're a
Why would they
kid.
want a low
Just
paying
kind of
job like that?
Well, that's the thing.
When they could be a plumber.
Space is dumb.
Yeah, because like when I was in school, it was never an option. Like you went into trades if you were a dummy, basically.
Yes.
Like I'm not gonna lie.
No,
I went into
we've
trades.
heard
I'm
it.
a
We
high
all
school
heard that.
dropout. I
Yeah.
wasn't a dummy. Like I was a straight A student, but I still dropped out of school and ended up in construction. I don't want to be that stereotype person that did that, but it's facts. It wasn't a promoted option when I was in high school. It is more so now. Like I know that they have in the high school here locally, they have a program that gets students into the trades. They even have some. I don't know how exactly it works, but you get work experience and then you can get a job in the trades and credits and something. I don't know.
Oh, it's
Co-op-
probably a co-op.
co-op,
I
a
had
co-op
to work-
program.
Probably a
Yeah.
co-op.
Yeah, like I had a girl, she just young too. Like I think she was like 16, 17 when she did her work experience. She's 18 now, making $30 an hour down at the union hall not in the union hall, but she's working like a union job down at C-SPAN, making $30 an hour at 18. 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I made
I was
16.
making like
Me too. When I started.
$8.
I know, but it's and this comes up a lot, is that you get a lot of people that are not in the industry that look at, okay, so you don't have all this high loan student debt from choosing a career that's probably not necessarily blue collar, some other choice of career. And then you have this 6-figure debt. And then if you go into trades, you don't have that debt, but you're already making more than your age going into your first, second, third year after that. And you start making 6 figures in as little as 10 years, if not even sooner. But I guess it's that stigma that's attached to it that you're a blue collar person and you're getting your hands dirty. So they don't really want to be associated with that. But it's a big problem because we know, and you guys, I'm sure you read this, that there's probably 2.5 times more trades leaving than are coming in.
Yes.
So there's that void, and we're not
frightening.
unique here. Like Canada's not unique. This is across the globe, right? So it's a problem that needs to be solved. And I agree with you. And I'm not a parent, so I'm gonna blame the parents on something. Is when the kids are young, tiny, they enforce building toys and building techniques, like they'll teach them certain things, how to do certain things. But at some point between their grade school and early high school, they eliminate all that and give them the possibility of a different type of career option. And then that's why I think we saw a huge rash of high schools removing any kind of trade-related skills teaching in those schools. And I've always been an advocate for trying to get yourselves, like you guys are all independent owners of your own business, you're all entrepreneurs, having the government to support us to bring on the apprenticeships into our business so we can still run our business. How do you guys feel about that? Would you guys be open and inviting to having young up and coming trades men and women being a plumber, wanting to be a plumber and coming onto your business?
I believe there is actually a subsidy, at least here in Ontario, that when you take apprentices, the government will subsidize part of their
Part of
wage.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
We need more.
Oh, okay.
And I would
Sorry.
love it to be longer because, as you guys know, it takes time to teach the skills.
Yeah, it
You'll
does.
never pick up any trade overnight. You need to spend some time on that. And then also you need to run a business, right? Operate, service, clients, all that stuff. You need to do that. And then there's also, you want that student to experience different types of trades and the details that you guys are all, like, not everybody's going to be handling the same. Sometimes you might be just installing toilets or what have you. It might be the same service problem or whatever it is. You want them to experience other aspects of the industry, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Going back to your point on, high school and taking those classes out, the government really needs to step up and fund education. When governments cut funding to education, the first classes that get removed are things like shop. those things, those classes that aren't going to produce doctors and lawyers, that's what's going to get cut first, right? So blue collar has, kind of always been ignored by the government, and unfortunately, we're seeing the result of that now, because I remember when I first applied to my job that I have now, 13 years ago, I think there was 100 people who applied for my job. We just had a job put out for an apprentice, one applicant.
Wow, that's shocking.
One applicant. And I mean, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the future.
So whose responsibility is it? I always say it's all of ours.
Oh, that's
it's
tough.
all of ours.
It's all of ours.
It's 100% all of ours.
And it kind of goes back, and I love what you guys are all doing on social media, because I'm sure that, and this is the great thing about this show and my social media and everything, that you meet complete strangers. They'll come up to you and they'll be like, I really liked what you said or what you showed or what you taught me. And you didn't think that you were saying anything particular, teaching anything particular, but you were experiencing something and giving it off to somebody else that influenced them to come into this industry. And so that's why I say it's on us now. So we got to continue. So I'm sure you guys are all very conscious of what the messaging is that you guys are putting out there when you do have your posts and you share certain techniques and you do your work. And you're still going to get the monkeys out there. They're going to peanut gallery, and that's what the block feature is for. It's so easy to block nowadays, right? So we just do that because we want to focus on teaching. Tradespeople are teachers. I don't care what point it is, you're going to be a teacher. So it's kudos to all you guys that you guys are doing that, because right now you are nurturing the next generation. But it's hard work for all of us to do that. It is a lot of work to attract more people. And if the government did 1% of what we are doing, can you imagine how many more people we would get into trades? Yeah, I am blaming the government.
Yeah.
They're not doing enough for us. They totally should do more.
I do feel like social media is such a powerful tool in terms of reaching a young audience, because primarily on social media, you are going to have a younger audience. And it's nice that they can see a real life setting of where trades take place and what exactly it is that you're doing. So like, I know when people think of plumbing, they think of poop, but we have really cool tools. We get to work with some really awesome stuff. And soldering is like amazing to watch. Like solder get pulled into a joint is so cool. So I don't know. I think it's nice to be able to show that real side of plumbing to people.
It's interesting that you bring that up, Laura, because it's funny how we've all seen social media where you've got all kinds of other careers. Mm-hmm. It could be, and there's obviously you guys have probably seen the rash of wealth and how to make money real quick and all that kind of crap, right? Stuff like that. But I think when it comes to tradespeople social media, everybody shows a fair representation of the good, the bad, and sometimes the poop, the ugliness, right? Mm-hmm. And you're honest about it. So then when someone's looking at it, they're going, okay, I get it now. Now I just literally have to get boots on the ground now and experience it, because I've seen it, but I need to experience it. Versus every other career out there on social media is always about glamour and showing all the good parts and all the fake parts. And it's like, that's not real.
Yeah.
So you guys are making it real, and that's what's hopefully going to attract more people. But I think that there's sometimes a problem with the younger trades trying to get in. They're intimidated because they probably look at all you guys and they're like thinking, how did they make it look so easy? Right? So like, I'm nervous to maybe ask them a question. I'm nervous I'm going to sound stupid. And I've always said on the show over and over, there is no stupid question. You're not going to know unless you ask, right? So you might as well just ask the question, reach out to the person, right? Don't be a little bit of a stalker about it, but just like be kind of professional about it, right? I was just bringing this up story the other day where I was having lunch at Bark. I don't know, Toronto, if you guys know where Bark is in Roncesvalles.
I haven't been there.
Smokehouse, right? So I was having lunch and I was doing a job there and I was sitting at the bar all by myself just having lunch. And then someone took a picture of me, posted it saying, hey, man, Manny from Hardcore Reynolds, and he's having lunch. And I'm like, it's a little creepy. And I was like, why didn't you just come up and say hello? And he was just saying, well, I didn't want to disturb you and I was a little intimidated by you. And I was like, well, it's kind of creepier that you just took a picture of me while I'm having lunch all by myself and you posted it. That's a little strange for me. So I encourage everybody to do that.
I think we're in a world where socializing face to face is becoming
Scary.
very much a
100%.
scary thing for people. I think there's a subconscious that's spreading, faster than any pandemic ever could, where people are actually afraid to talk to people face to face now. And, like blue collar is face to face. That's how you've always, if you want to have that blue collar life, go out, shake hands, like get in people's faces and be like, hey, this is who I am. How do I do this? That might take 20 seconds of bravery before you do it. But to have that kind of attitude, anybody with a socializing skill nowadays is just going to skyrocket. Your career is going to skyrocket because it is becoming more and more of a dying trait, I think, in people. So if you want to be in the trades, gather that courage that you do have inside of you, take a deep breath, go get after it, send the message, shake the hand, and say what you want and get what you want, because that's how blue collar people are made.
This show is brought to you by Dahl. With Dahl, you receive a lifetime of reliability not only in the product they make, but in the service they provide. From design to manufacture to technical support, with Dahl, you don't just get a great product, you get a team of expertise. Join the thousands of satisfied Dahl customers and experience the Dahl difference. As a GC, I can confidently say that Dahl means receiving a lifetime of reliability. It's not just about the exceptional products they manufacture, but also the outstanding service they provide every step of the way. From the initial design phase to the meticulous manufacturing process, Dahl demonstrates their commitment to excellence. Everyone knows I respect care and construction. Check out Dahl at www.dahlvalve.com and also on social at dahlvalve. I mean, to Megan's point earlier, where you said that you actually enjoyed that communication part of residential, where you were speaking to people and problem solving. Like you actually enjoyed that part of that. And that's part of the trade. That's part of your work. Like you have to do that.
Exactly.
So you're bringing your toolbox, you're putting in everything. And I just want to take a massive guess here, a massive guess on tool brand across all four. Are we all red?
I like rigid.
Okay, well, technically red.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
I
blend.
like both personally.
Milwaukee is very plumber driven.
Yes.
So if you're going to go with one platform, one battery platform, Milwaukee has you covered, whereas the other ones are lacking. Whether, if you want a saw, DeWalt makes the best saws, but plumbing platform, Milwaukee.
I'll argue that point about DeWalt being the best
like
saw.
corded saws. All corded saws that I own are all DeWalt. All my battery operated tools, minus my drain cleaning, are all Milwaukee. All my drain cleaning, pretty much, except for like my small little M12 snake, is rigid. So I definitely have a very broad blend. But if you look in my van with everything that's in it at this point right now, it is like 99%.
You got a red van. I've seen your van.
I think it's actually 100% Milwaukee. Yeah.
It's the same with me.
All my drain cleaning stuff doesn't stay with me all the time. So
it's the exact same with me. Drain cleaning equipment is rigid. Hand tools is a bit of a blend, like with Nipex and whatnot. But all my power tools are all Milwaukee. And I don't know. It's like Danielle said, they're very plumber driven. They're very plumber friendly. And it's expensive to have multiple brands because now you need multiple batteries. So it's best to stick with one, and Milwaukee is a good brand to stick with for sure.
Yeah, they were smart about designing it for the trades, right?
Yes.
And it's not just plumbers. They were designing it for gas fitters and HVAC people. They were setting all that up for them, and it made a lot of sense. Yeah. But I'm noticing that DeWalt's trying to get into the game now, and they're trying to introduce their versions of it. But too little, too late, I think. I think people...
I think it's a bit late, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I honestly, I know there's a lot of DeWalt haters out there, but I have used their grinder, like corded grinders, and before battery operated was a thing. Mm-hmm. Corded grinder and corded skill saw, I've been using those for almost 20 years, and they have never failed me.
Nice. Ever.
So I still use, because sometimes you need corded stuff. Sometimes the batteries just it doesn't give you enough juice, or it doesn't, if
especially
I'm cutting out a chimney or something. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like sometimes you just need a corded saw. And for that, I have DeWalt.
You guys,
Yeah. Simple.
Sorry.
Do you guys mind me asking, do you guys, I haven't used the tools yet, but there's a new feature on like when you're using like, you know, the Bosch or whatever, there's like a safety feature on it. So like
The anti-kick.
Yeah, the anti-kick. I haven't yet to use those tools, but have you?
Get it.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
I've seen bears.
Incredible.
I've seen bears use those tools and get kicked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get thrown around like that. Like
the whole
my
saw
hand.
used
Yeah,
for
like-
Yeah.
I saw that.
I have buggered myself up with
Yeah.
some tools
Honestly.
that got some kickback.
Any tool that gives you longevity
yes.
Yeah.
in your hands,
Yes.
buy it, keep it, love it, invest in yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
Those
Like
are
these,
those are your primary tools. Your
yeah,
hands are your
and
primary.
the-
Yeah.
I think starting off at the Milwaukee Gen 3, I believe it started, you can go in to their Bluetooth and set the setting to at the 90 degree, it'll shut off.
Really?
So
Nice.
yeah,
Wow.
I believe that's a Gen 3 drill
Really?
that you can actually, yep. Yeah, you just get the Bluetooth app and then you can customize your drill.
That's cool.
I know. I just got the their jackhammer, the rotary jackhammer there, and it has one key, and I like.
Yeah, no.
I will figure it out, but
Yeah,
I
one
haven't
key-
figured it out yet.
One key is like if you can start using it, absolutely start doing that. It's got you can retrieve your stolen articles from it. Like if somebody comes and robs your gear out of your truck or your van, you can actually track that down using your one key. So use one key
Wow.
if you
That'd be
figure
nice.
it out.
I've already had a
Yeah.
break-in
Incredible.
2 years ago. So
It makes me wonder
it's
about.
devastating.
I've seen the old plumbers. I've seen the young plumbers, and I just find that the young plumbers, they need to have all the latest and greatest. And then when I talk to the older plumbers, they make do with whatever's available, and they have a hard time spending that extra coin to get the latest and greatest. How do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I
an
understand.
investment.
yeah,
I understand because like I'm a bit of an old head myself. Like I'm like I like to keep what I have. I love my old tools, and I have this traditional way of thinking that sometimes I have to like push to the side, especially when it comes to safety. And that's kind of what got me into like buying newer and better tools, is because I was starting to find, well, where I am like smaller. I was starting to find like the newer the tool, the better the technology, the better I felt at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I want to retire and still be able to go for a run. So
Yes.
that's
Exactly.
my goal.
Same
And it
thought
just-
process with you guys?
Yeah, actually, I think having good tools is so beneficial because it means that you use less of your body to, because a lot of times, like if you look at me, I'm not using strength to do my job. I'm using tools. And I remember back when I was doing low-rise, so residential construction, sometimes I'd use my journeyman's tools, and his tools were like kind of crap. And I don't want to use pliers that slip and throw my hand into the freaking concrete. Like that hurts. So like as soon as that happens like twice, I'm going for my Nipex because they bite true. And I don't need to like have these bloody knuckles look like a boxer, like boxing the concrete. So that's why I think having good tools, like it only benefits you.
Yeah, like my wrist started hurting when I was using the copper cutters, like, just the manual copper
Yes.
cutters. And then when I got the Milwaukee automatic copper cutters, I was like, oh, okay. I don't have to use this movement as much anymore. So that's good.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that like looks at that and then thinks like I could?
That's an intrusive thought, isn't it?
No, it's just like I got a cigar and I can use that, and it's like it's not designed for that. It's designed for cutting copper properly, right? It's just a stupid like guillotine thing. Well, let's just like try to test it, right? See if it's gonna work or not. But it's a smart tool. It makes a lot of sense. Right?
I don't honestly like.
You don't
that
like it? You
tool.
go manual?
Yay.
No,
No.
I find it slow.
It is if
Slow.
the
I've had three. I've had three now. 2 with the last company that I worked for before I opened the company, and then I have the one that I have now. And the first one was pretty good. After it took my fingernail off, for some reason, it never worked right after that.
That's
all I
what
wanted
I
to do.
mean. That's what I was talking about, right? I was like,
And then the second one, it didn't really work as well. It was, it didn't matter if I had a fresh battery or a fresh blade. It just never really cut really quickly. Like over 10 seconds for a cut is too long. Because I can cut with copper cutters.
Oh, I'd love to be in the car with you when we're waiting for the light to turn green.
I've done a test. I've timed I've timed with 3/4 copper. I've timed the Milwaukee cutter versus the manual quick acting cutter versus bandsaw. Bandsaw is obviously faster. I don't love the cuts with them.
You don't get a clean cut.
I'm trying to make things fast. I don't get a clean cut. But, if you're going for speed, that's it for sure. But when it comes to, everything else, I'm still manual. But yes, Megan, my wrist is like, I don't know if you can see that thing right now, but when I was doing mechanical rooms on a subdivision, I think I did like around 600 to 700 of them before I quit.
Wow.
And I would do days of like prefabbing components and soldering and cutting copper, and I would use copper cutters, and I would hold the copper and I would cut and cut and cut, and just that pulling, it buggered my wrist up so bad. Like I still have problems with it. So, yes, I can see where the automatic cutters are definitely handy, but I still find that they're too slow.
You're gonna see an upgrade from the M12 on that one for sure.
Okay, good, because I want to like it because it would be so handy, but the one I have is garbage. I don't like it.
Too many plumbers saying the same thing, so they're gonna fix that. I can guarantee it.
It'd be nice if they made them water resistant as well.
Yeah, water resistant.
They're not water resistant?
They hate water.
Nah, as soon as you cut into that pipe and there's a little bit of that water and it drips into the back of that, it's not working. Sometimes, like I've been lucky enough, I let it dry out for like a couple of days and then it'll work again, and I'm like, okay, perfect.
That's not efficient. That's not being efficient.
Good for one more cut.
Fluid film. You really want fluid film. That spray lubricant is perfect pair with that M12 cutter for sure. I found that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like a faster cut. You get like the water resistance kind of, improves a little bit. I guess maybe the oil helps out, but I'd say if you got those cutters, it's fluid film.
Fluid. Okay.
Just have that with you in life, anyways. It's like the greatest.
Have you guys all jumped onto the ProPress train?
Yeah.
No, I want to. Okay. I did a demo, but I'd love to.
Guys,
absolutely.
You guys are on ProPress, right?
Yeah, because I
have the rigid ProPresses.
I'm mechanical service, so if I got to take down a building, you need
it. It's the only way to do it.
Difference between a 2-hour shutdown and an 8-hour shutdown. So.
And you haven't,
no-brainer.
Megan, you haven't gone on that yet, or you've tried it, of course.
I've tried it. The plumbing supplier that I go to let me do like a demo for the day, and it was awesome. I loved it, but our company doesn't currently have one right now. But, I don't mind the old way of soldering, but I definitely will get one eventually.
So are you guys more, because I guess you do a lot more commercial on the Zoom there, but more soldering instead of PEX or pressing? I
do more soldering.
You're doing more soldering, right? Because
I do more
pressing, right?
I don't mind soldering, but I don't love it because I did so much of it when I was doing those mechanical rooms that it started giving me nosebleeds. Should have been wearing a mask probably. But yeah, because I would do days of fabbing. So I'd be doing days of soldering, and you're like cleaning the copper on the stand, and the copper dust is coming up. I started getting nosebleeds.
Wow. Yeah,
and just like raw. Yeah, so now I'm just like, soldering.
Yeah, if you see me in my videos,
if I have to, but I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah, you wear the P100 or P1000 when you don't mess around.
I use the 3M. Yeah, I always do, and people always ask me, why are you wearing PPE with soldering? And I'm like, well, I mean,
I look at airborne gases.
Yeah, and I also think about the long term. Like a lot of people don't think about what does this look like, with my health 10 years down the road from, even the glues, all those VOCs and glues and stuff like that. I like to wear 3M just because I know, there are scientific studies on it and how they can be carcinogenic. And, I want to be able to to work as much as I can without, health issues.
Yeah.
But
So you're not supposed to leave the yellow glue on your arm and then let it dry and then rip it
I've
off like
done
you're
that.
waxing?
oh yeah,
No, you're not supposed to do that?
it's kind of
It's
hard to
the
prevent
easiest
that,
way
but
to get it off.
You don't wipe it off right away.
No, you leave it there for a bit. It's kind of fun on your drive home.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that once.
Give
Back to
yourself
grade
to do.
school with wood glue, and you're like peeling your skin. That's how it was back in the day. Since we're getting onto safety, are we better these days?
Definitely.
We are a
We
lot
are
better
better.
these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
definitely.
conscious of
I actually wear knee pads.
that's critical.
huge.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
A lot of
man,
trades
my
I see,
knees.
and like, oh, it's just one time. I'll just sit down one time, and like, then your knees are beat up by the end of the week. You don't want that, right? So, and it's like I love that you brought up the knee pads, and I love that you're using respirators when you're doing that stuff. It's just all these little things that are should be in your toolbox at any given time, and properly cared for too. I'm not talking about sticking like masks anywhere you want and having weather or sawdust or all kinds of chemicals falling into them. Like, take care of them as if you're brand new tools that you just bought, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's nice to also see companies get behind safety now. I don't really think we should be working around asbestos, like removing transite and stuff like that. These things, like, they're very, very, very dangerous.
Yes.
These things, like an abatement needs to be done. These needs to be removed by people who are like professionally trained in asbestos. And I'm a 30-year apprentice. Like, I don't think I'm qualified to safely handle that. And I had an asbestos exposure, and I didn't know what I was working with. So that, like, I will suffer the consequences for that. But I think it's really important that companies get behind this safety.
And I think that residential in particular has a really, really tough time trying to, follow safety procedures when it comes to asbestos and different types of materials that plumbers get exposed to. Because, like when I first started in my plumbing industry, there was no asbestos course that I took or anything like that. So, like, I cut open materials not knowing, what was in this. And when I started to gain that experience, like, oh, well, I should be understanding the materials that I'm working with, that I started to have like a lot of doubts on like cutting things open. And I started to realize that, like, I think that it's really important to understand the materials and try to have safety measures around that. So, like, if you're cutting open a ceiling that has asbestos in it, I think that informing the homeowner at least that, like, hey, this contains asbestos, like, I would recommend getting it removed before I work into it. And I know it's very inconvenient for people, especially plumbers, doing their jobs and stuff. But I think it's just well worth it, for the homeowner and for you not to be exposed.
Absolutely.
I know that here in Toronto, we started having more rules regarding homeowners or GCs had to actually apply for the hazardous material. So you had to prove that the house didn't have any of these things. So you had to test certain materials to confirm it. Is that the same case in the East and West Coast, guys? Like, are they upping those antes where it's not really?
No.
Yeah, well,
Like when I talk like
for
lead paint,
disposal,
asbestos, it's basically airborne. And what I get a little upset about is that if you get a plumber that comes in and they need to make a hole to drill through, whether it could be asbestos laden tiles, vinyl tiles, old school ones, or even going through a ceiling, they just figure in their mindset, it's just one hole I'm drilling. But the point is that you're making the particles go airborne. That's the risky part.
Yeah.
And it's not so much you as a tradesperson
Yeah.
doing it, it's the other trades that are working around you that might breathe it in.
Right. So when you're dealing with a friable
Yes.
asbestos form, that's the risk, right? And I remember when I first started, my journeyman sent us down into a basement in a church, and I could see it's almost like glass in because we were stirring it up as we were crawling, and back then I had no idea what it was, and we were kind of just joking that it was asbestos, and it was, of course, but what what that meant, I had no idea. Now I work in a place where every year I get asbestos awareness training, and I walk into a room and I see, like, let's say an elbow that I know is asbestos, or I open up a floor or something and I see something containing. I just step back and we get an abatement team come in, depending on the emergency, depends on how fast they come in. They clear it up. So that's really rare in Newfoundland where I live. Any other plumber, like my brother-in-law's a plumber, this guy is just cutting into walls himself, so I'm definitely the exception to the rule in Newfoundland, where we have a long way to come.
And then out west, Marianne, is it same idea?
Yes, asbestos is a sensitive topic for me. Just talking about it gives me lung pains, because the first company that I worked for, this is before plumbing, I worked for a roofing and like renovation company, and we did a lot of attic cribbing for some reason. And I was the one that did all the attic work. And they would tell me that they would do asbestos testing, but then I later found out that they weren't. So I went into hundreds of homes that had asbestos in their attic, because I now know that if the vermiculite is multicolored, it is asbestos 100%. So make note, young ladies, if it is color, like has multiple colors in it, it most likely has asbestos in it. So I was like swimming in the stuff for, I only worked for them for a year. So I'm hoping it wasn't enough to actually cause damage. But now it's, we won't get jobs, because I'll tell a homeowner, like, if we need to open up your wall, we need an asbestos test done. It's for your safety and for ours, and not like me. I'm tainted now. I'm hoping not to the point that I'm going to have problems, but because they should be arriving pretty soon, pending what they say about the time frame. But I have, a worker that works with me, and I don't want her to be subjected to it, because she's young, and I don't want her to have the problems in the future with these issues. So I know that there's been times that have come up where it's like, if we need to open up your wall, we have to do an asbestos test, and they just won't even call back.
I just want all the
or they'll be like, so if the wall is already open and then you come by,
wink,
it's like,
wink.
Come on, man.
Then we'll do an airborne test and find out that it's airborne that you just created. So now we got to hazmat the whole house at this point. No, I want the younger trades that are coming into the industry to understand that don't be afraid to just ask a question. Don't just assume that you should just go running into a burning building and going, sure, I'll go do my job. Like, question it.
Right.
If you think it's risk, you should just bring it up. You're not being a pain. You're not being stupid. You're not being anything. You're just asking a question if the site is safe, because we have every right to be on a safe site.
Exactly.
Nobody's job is worth losing something as delicate as your life.
Exactly.
Or livelihood.
Or livelihood, exactly. That too.
Like literally getting lung pains.
Okay, moving on then. We're going to move away from the lung pains. Outside of the like a lack of trades coming into the industry, what is the number one problem with the plumbing industry?
Well, I service downtown Toronto, and
so you got a city of problems.
Yeah, I mean, these buildings are old and whatnot, but this is more related to Toronto specifically. But if you're driving those larger vehicles like the Savannahs and whatnot, you can't park anywhere. Above ground parking is almost non-existent, and underground parking you will not fit. So you're marching like blocks with your tools and your equipment, and God forbid you forget like a supply line, because then that's another 20-minute walk back to your truck. I'm lucky that I drive like a small vehicle now. I have a Metris, and so I can fit underground. So that's amazing. But when I was with my previous company and I was driving a Savannah, it was a nightmare trying to navigate down that city. So these old cities where the roads are small and the population is very large, it's hard to service those areas.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I'm in Hamilton, but like in the city like that, ooh,
it's a nightmare.
Tough.
But Hamilton's getting busy too, and it's becoming a slight pain for parking as well, isn't it? Or?
It is. I mean, I've had a few parking tickets, but but for the most part, I mean, it's okay. Like,
I guess accessibility then is it so like issues with the plumbing industry is just having the accessibility as a trade to get in to do the scope of work that you need to do.
Yep. I would say also, like, for me, was finding the right journeyman in throughout, the plumbing. So like when I first started, I didn't really have the best, like, I guess you could say mentor. So I think finding the right people to, to teach you, I think is super important in the industry as well. And that was one of the things that I struggled with. And I think right now, like I'm in a company that I've worked for 4 years, and they are absolutely amazing. And I've learned so much more within these 4 years than I ever have. So I'm really grateful for that.
Plenty of mentors there.
Yeah, well, just my one boss.
Okay.
He's taught me a lot in the plumbing industry, and he's actually had the patience and the time to really like teach me that, in ways and just, if I ever get like stuck, I just know that I can call, right? Whereas before I had companies where like I would call and it's like, sorry, we're 6 beers in and I can't come to help you. And that feeling of being left at that job, like, especially when you're, fairly new, it's like, okay, what do I do? Look up a YouTube video? I mean, I guess I can, but like there was one job I had to leave because I was like, I don't know what to do here and I don't have anyone to help me. So yeah, it's interesting.
You can give any of us a shout anytime too.
Oh, I'm good.
You can actually call me anytime. And I will 100% stop what I'm doing and help you out if you ever need some advice.
You guys are awesome. Yeah, no, I'm good now. Like I'm fairly confident in where I am and what I can do, and it just makes my job like less stressful. That's for sure. So I feel good now.
Are you fighting?
That goes for anybody. Anybody.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
no, for sure. I totally get that sense. But are you getting, like, do you feel, Megan, that you're struggling, that you want to just solve it yourself and figure it out yourself if you can't get the help to come help you?
So I'm a little bit stubborn in that way. I like to...
Welcome to construction.
Yeah. I like to do things on my own most of the time. And sometimes I feel like I need to ask for more help sometimes. Okay. I think that's my problem now. But yeah, so being able to solve complex issues and just like, it's just the gratification that comes towards that in particular, I think is just, it's an amazing experience.
How about you guys, Marianne?
Problems with the plumbing industry, is that the question?
Well, the number one, I guess, the biggest problem with the plumbing industry, outside of lack of trades coming into the industry in general, but yeah.
I mean, I think that definitely lack of trades is the number one, or lack of like workers. But I think the number two is I personally, in my opinion, think that there is a lack of hands-on training when it comes to specific like categories, areas of plumbing. Like there's no real great courses when it comes to boiler installations, boiler takedowns. Like, yes, there's some companies out there that do their specific brand training, but there's no like real good training locally anyways for specific training as a whole, not just brand specific. I think that it would be really helpful to have those different, more accessible, that don't cost you $1 million to do those specific trainings per different type of job, because there's a lot of people doing work out there that really don't know what they're doing, and it's going to be more and more with the lack of knowledge out there, because all the older plumbers are retiring or retired, so there's already that gap of knowledge that we are missing out on, and it's just going to get worse because all the people that are getting trained now are going to be trained by the people with less experience, and it's just going to snowball later on. And so if we could have more direct training on specific subjects, I think that would be
Wouldn't that be interesting if the government started a program that if you were into your later career of a trade, you're getting close to retiring, they actually paid you to basically become a spokesperson on tutorials?
That's a great idea.
I'm not a politician. I'm just coming up with the ideas and throwing it at them, but they're not listening, right? Because there's more shuffling going on in government these days than a casino. That's all I'm going to say, right? There's a lot of...
You got to start those YouTube videos early.
Well, but to your point, though, there's a lot of YouTube videos with misinformation, and it's more about, I find, ego.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like, get rid of the ego part and can we get to the class? Like what I remember about my best teachers in school, whether it was in, grade school, high school, or post school, it was the ones that really cared and they were passionate and they didn't really care about like their ego or their personality or whatever. They just wanted to educate you and get it out there. But I find with social media, everyone has to have this ego first and then lesson second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which kind of frustrates you, and you want to try to scrub the video, and then you're kind of not happy with how it's being taught to you, right?
That's right.
Oh,
ego is not your amigo. That's the first thing I tell my my apprentices know that they don't walk onto the website. They got to.
You're gonna make another sticker. You're gonna make another sticker for that one.
Make another sticker.
I love it.
But that's it. Because you walk onto any job site thinking you know it all, you're not gonna learn anything. You gotta drop it. You gotta ask for help when you need it. You gotta recognize that you're never going to know everything. That everything can be a school day if you're open to it. And then
absolutely.
Just let it flow, and the information comes to you. As long as you don't have that ego trying to kill your buzz.
What sets Dahl apart is their dedicated team of experts who are always ready to offer their technical support. Whether you have questions about installation, troubleshooting, or product specifications, Dahl's knowledgeable professionals are there to assist you. Their expertise ensures that you have the necessary resources and guidance to successfully complete your projects. Check out Dahl at www.dahlvalve.com and on social at DahlValve. You brought up a good point there, Marianne, about the companies. And should we have more companies offer more training that are to the point, so to speak? So maybe they dissect their product line where it's not, I noticed when I was starting to do a lot of the PKs out there, you would come and they would give you a sprinkle of this, a sprinkle of that, and you would get a taste of every little thing. And I'm like, I'd rather you guys focus the entire visit on this one aspect. Can we just learn all about this? Let's have the pleasantries, let's have some food, and then let's get to business and just learn this. Would you guys like to see more of that from all the companies?
Yeah, and maybe even focus, like the ones that I've been to, mind you, very informative or whatnot. I still take training courses because I like to be up on technology, and I am one of those people that know that I don't know it all, and I never will. And I like to broaden my knowledge on all aspects of the different types of plumbing that I do. And I think that more than 2 hours or 3 hours per training course would be really helpful, because most of them are only an afternoon or a morning, and you can only scratch the top of the surface on that. I think like a full day, 2 days, 3 days a week. Maybe companies can pay for an employee to do that. I know it's out of pocket, but the outcome of that would be so beneficial. Like I would definitely pay for that for an employee, 100%.
It's an ROI. You would see the ROI on that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then I wouldn't be the one doing it all the time, Yeah. Because when it comes to the technical stuff, yes, I have the knowledge, and not everything, like I said, but when it comes to the jobs that I do where it's only me that has the knowledge, I go do those jobs, and it's making it so it's very limited on the amount of people out there doing those. So if we can just broaden that knowledge out there to the employees and to people that want to learn, you still got to sign up for it. But I don't know. I think accessibility is a really huge thing that we need out there.
I think one of the best parts of being part of my local union is the opportunity for education, and touching on what you said there, Marianne, about that old knowledge is starting to retire and we're going to lose that. Like that is very frightening. I have thought about that before and I don't like that thought. But being with the union, they offer these courses that can help you in your career and understand what you're looking at, and you can get additional licensing through the union and stuff like that. MedGas, your gas licenses, backflow. I got kicked out of the backflow course before I even started. I was a third-year apprentice, and they were like, yeah, you can't write. And I actually wanted to cry. So is that my camera? Okay, 46.
No, that's the webcam for them. Your
where's my camera?
Your camera's there.
Can I please get my backflow ticket? I regret that. I
gave mine up. I found it was way too boring. I couldn't do it.
Really?
I was like, I can't sit I can't sit in front of this stopwatch anymore. I was like, just take it. I don't want to do it.
But it's nice to be part of something that can give you that knowledge, give you that licensing, and having those additional tickets makes you very employable. So that is definitely, if you have an opportunity to get additional licensing and further your education, you should definitely take advantage of that opportunity for sure.
I wanted to ask all you guys, how important do you see the younger trades getting into the industry understanding the value of their presence when they walk onto either a commercial or a residential homeowner's site? What they look like, what they smell like, what they act like. Do they quickly realize how important these nonverbal talking points are screaming at your clientele? Because I'm sure that you guys are conscious of this. We have a brand to uphold. We have an image to uphold. I think that stigma of a plumber, crack, bum, that kind of thing is all gone, and everything's like that's not us anymore. Mm-hmm. So are the younger trades understanding that I have to show up with a good T-shirt, right? I have to show up a clean T-shirt. Mm-hmm. I can't smell like weed, like stuff like that. Those little things, right?
I'm getting 50-50. So I'll get half of the apprentices who you really got to kind of drill it into their heads. Like, you cannot be this way if you want to be successful. And then I've got some who, will just absorb everything I say like they're a thirsty puppy. So it's 50-50 for sure, whether or not they want to listen to you. Like, that's half of that's their parents too, right?
Oh, yeah, let's go back to the parents.
I'm not their mom, but I tell them that, part of their apprenticeship is learning how to actually be an adult.
I would say that. Marianne, any thoughts?
Yeah, 50-50. That's very much the same. Some of them, it's like, if you're gonna wear the whale tail, can you please pull your pants up?
What's
it's
a
like
whale
you gotta
tail?
have the conversation every day.
Oh,
Or maybe not bright red is like the option. I don't know, and then there's the other ones that no, if we're doing this specific job today, if we're doing a rough-in, wear your dirty shirt. Because it's going to get dirty.
My question is when I see the man wearing the whale tail.
Yeah, that's
a thing, though.
It's a question. I just question
I'm not
we don't mind.
I'm not here to judge, but I recently had a young guy who kept showing up with, it was like 8:00 in the morning, showing up with a monster. And I'm like, please don't bring that into,
wow.
Oh my God.
Just leave it in your truck. Bring in open it at the break, but
all these
I don't
little
want to have a
things.
professional. Yeah, I just don't want to have a professional environment where we're walking in and you've got your toolbox and a monster. Like I don't like that look.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 8:00, you're working, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same as smokers. Like, I'm not a smoker. Well, I mean, cigars are not smoking, but I mean, like guys that just. The butts and everything like that. I'm sorry, cigars are not smoking. But I would never do that on a job site. I never have done that on a job site. But the smokers, just the butts and just being inconsiderate, whether it's a public sidewalk or if it's a job site, it's just like all these people are watching. And if they're watching and they see something that they're not a fan of, they'll remember your brand for that and not what you really are all about. That's
Agreed.
The part. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand, like, we are blue collar, but there is a degree of professionalism that you need to portray in this trade, especially if you feel that getting people into the trade is important. You need to make sure that people are perceiving you in a professional way because you really are a skilled person. It's important that you appear that way to people. That plumber's crack, I wish it was a thing of the past, but my God, like, I tuck in my shirt. Oh, it's still there, and it's pale. But you need to...
And it's pale?
The ones I see.
And floristry?
A little bit. Oh, my goodness. But yeah.
Welcome to Construction Life, where we'll draw a picture for you very clearly.
The imagery. But yeah, you got to tuck in those shirts and wear a belt. And especially... like Marianne said before, but when you walk in, sometimes people aren't going to take you very seriously. Yes. So these are just little tiny things that you can do to like help yourself as well, and also help your trade appear more professional.
Although I must say, like, I do struggle with, like, well, not really struggle, but, like, I'm always messy. Like, I'm full of glue. I'm always full of, like, just everything. It's really, like, if I was to try to keep up with, like, I guess the standard, I would have to, like, get a new pair of pants, like, once every 2 weeks.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, my pants are a mess.
I feel like pants don't count.
Yeah.
Shirt, like, I try and keep a fairly clean-ish shirt. It's gonna have the odd spots of glue here and there, but for me, until they stand up on end, I feel like the pants don't count.
Agreed.
Is that just me? Is that just me? Because my pants are like disgusting.
Yeah, mine too.
It doesn't matter if they're brand new or not. They are, because I use them as a napkin.
Yeah, all the time.
Which is hard to break that habit when you are not in your work clothes, by the way.
I know. And then you feel terrible because you just ruined your favorite pants that are not work pants.
Yeah.
I know.
It is.
I'd love to go down the rabbit hole of building code and inspectors. Any interesting stories, or are we all good? Everybody's playing nice? Do we have ridiculous codes these days?
I don't like. No. I'll do homes every now and then, just kind of like as like a little fun thing to do. And the last time I did a home, I realized that we had to rough-ins because it was actually a house that had burned down and they built it back up again. So I was doing the plumbing, and when I roughed in the vanity, I roughed in the 2-inch the wet vent inside the wall. Now we're not allowed to put 2-inch inside the wall. So I had to offset the wet vent or the drain portion of it. And then I had, of course, once it got to the venting portion, I could go back into the wall because it was 1.5 inches. So I had to, tell the homeowners, like, yeah, your vanity, that beautiful vanity you just purchased, we're going to have to cut that. We're going to have to cut a hole through it. To get that 2-inch drain up through, because it had to come up through the floor because they're not allowing 2-inch in homes because of the R value.
Exterior walls, that's why, right?
They would have.
So they would have. I was just kind of figuring out. Wait a minute, why wouldn't it? But yeah, it's an exterior wall.
No, sorry, it is exterior and it is for R value, but they weren't allowing the 2-inch drains. So any exterior drainage had to stub up through the floor, and of course that changes your cabinetry, your vanities. It looks hideous for somebody who really likes my plumbing to look seamless. That was devastating for me. I was like, what a terrible code. Could
you not fur out the wall at that point? Was that not an option?
So I suggested it, but of course, the homes down in Newfoundland. I don't know if anybody you've seen them.
I'm not familiar with
Megan.
Them.
Yeah.
But we have really small homes here, small townhouses, small homes, and for the most part, if for you to furl out a wall, you're losing you're talking another 4 inches off that room, right? So it's at that stage. It looks horrendous. Yeah. I don't like bulkheads anyways, or furled out walls.
Yeah, I remember when
that
code came out. Yeah, we have a new inspector in town because the last one, who was great, retired, and man, is she.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that I don't do much.
Which words do you want to use? Do they begin with F and end with F? I don't understand. What kind of?
It may start with C and end with T.
Oh, okay.
Who knows?
She's that good. She's really good. Okay.
Yeah. I'm grateful that I don't have to deal with her a lot, because being residential, and I stay far away from new construction as much as I can. I'll do renos, but I do not like new construction. No, not into it. So I don't have to deal with inspectors a whole lot, but I have had some instances with her, and so has everybody else in this town that has to deal with her. And she is literally the walking devil.
Oh no! Is she new to being an inspector by any chance? Because maybe she's okay.
She has no experience in that field. Yeah. She's an architect. I don't know. what she is.
Is she trying to
Pain in the
prove
butt.
something? Is she just trying to prove something, or is she just being
I
really
think
strict?
so, yeah. And she's just like, she's costing people so much money, and she'll be failing jobs that have already been passed by other inspectors on like previous stages.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah,
nobody wants to challenge her. Nobody wants to take it to the next supervisor, or like nobody wants to bother.
I mean, I don't have to deal with her enough to do that, but she actually, like, I just built a shop, and she was doing the final on it, and I took the day off so I could meet her, which, as we know, plumbers make some bank, so a full day is, you know, some change for sure. Well, I took the whole day off to meet her, and she shined me. Didn't call, didn't anything. And oh man, was I pissed. I can have a bit of a temper sometimes. I went down to their building, which is like right down the road from where I am, and put a nice letter on the front door for her saying how unimpressed I was about having to take the day off work to meet her. And she called me at 8:00 that night apologizing. I was like, no. You don't understand. Like, I know people down at your like place of business that are higher up, and I may have to go to them about this. And she showed up at 6:00 in the 6:30 the next morning and passed it. Nice. She didn't even know what she was looking at. She didn't even know what a barbecue box was. How is that weird? You know?
How does she not?
Gas outlet box?
How does she not know that? She hasn't read the whole book.
Because she just doesn't have the experience. Didn't know what the wall furnace was. Like, I got a wall furnace in the shop. No idea what it was.
This is embarrassing. This is like
it's so yeah. And you know, I couldn't even deal with her because I was so mad from the day before that I sent my partner out, and he's worse than I am because he's like passive aggressive roofer. You know, like he'll make you feel this big with talking to you normally, you know, like
I never want to piss off a roofer.
Oh man, and he just went to town with her. It was great. I was like watching on the camera, like the surveillance camera,
loving it up.
It was just great.
Over here in Toronto, do you guys anything with building code and inspectors? How they've been these days?
In my experience with inspectors, they don't linger long. They kind of walk through the house, they peek, and you know, I mean, I don't think the inspection lasted more than like 2 minutes, and this is in residential. Yeah. So, I mean, they're supposed to show up at 8, they show up at 11, and they're gone by 11:05. So that's my experience with them.
The plumbing, one of the plumbing inspectors that I had, I mean, they were pretty good. It was actually one of the first houses I did on my own, and it was 3 bathrooms. And they were on a well, so I did like pressure tank pumps and stuff like that. But the only one thing that I got wrong was that it was too much of a slope for the 1 3-inch drain line, but the vent, like the furnace, was in the way. So I had to like cut it and offset it to kind of make that slope not as sloped. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the only thing that I ever had like an issue with in terms of, but not that more of my work. But
can you not question them saying, okay, can you prove to me that it's too much of a slope based on these numbers?
It definitely was.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, it definitely was for sure. It was just the furnace was like in the way of where I needed to go. So, cause I was doing a 3-piece rough-in like in between a furnace and a outside wall. So I was like this, like and it was a tough spot. And yeah, so. But
I guess just the older I get, the more I'm willing to challenge.
Yeah.
The younger I was, the more I was nervous to challenge.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, you're a teenager being pulled over by the cops for the first time, and what are you? You're like the end of the world, right? Mm-hmm. You pull me over now, it's like, let's have a conversation. We're going to talk now. This is how it's going to all work out, right? So you're not afraid of it anymore.
Sorry? I definitely tried to talk to, I tried to talk my way out of having to sub out those drains. I did not want to do it. I had the inspector come in. I was like, his name is Don, and I'm like, come on, Don, like, just this one house, like, we'll do it all. He's like, shut up, Danielle, just do it, you idiot.
Well, it's nice that you're having that. See, we're communicating. That's all you got to say. Yeah. We're communicating, right? We could hate each other, but we're communicating.
That's right.
What's the number one thing about customer service for you guys?
Making sure that they know that they're safe with me.
Also educating your clientele really beneficial because you don't want to keep going back to that building for the same issue over and over again. I think helping them understand what's occurring in their building and why is like half the battle with preventative maintenance. And then that also establishes trust with the client because then they understand that like, oh yeah, she doesn't want to be here either. So I think it's really important to really communicate with your clients and let them know what exactly is going on.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant by safety is like I want them when they see me that they know that they're going to get the job done right and there's going to be communication, and at the end of it like they're not going to feel like they're getting ripped off, you know, like.
Yeah. Education's key for sure.
But do you guys ever get clients just with a glazed look over their eyes and like they have no idea what you're talking about?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Oh yes.
And then that glaze turns
that's why
into
you're
you're
there,
upselling
right?
us, right? Do they fear that you're upselling us? Like you're just trying to sell something that we really might not need.
I don't get that a lot. Like I have had the odd person that thought that I was ripping them off. I guess they had bad experiences with plumbers in the past, and they're like, "Well, you're just trying to upsell me on a new tankless." And I was like, "No, your tankless is pooch because it was installed really poorly to the point that the unit failed." And yeah, they were like convinced that I was just trying to sell them on a new. I was like, honestly, like then don't.
Yeah.
Because I am actually the opposite of a salesperson. I'm like the worst. Don't hire me for sales because I suck at it. I'm like, nah, you don't need that. No. I mean, they have these features, yes, but I mean, realistically, if you want the more economical cost, then you can really just go with this. I like to go give the options of all of the above. But when it comes to like, if it were my house is my usual go-to saying. Because I know what I want.
That's how you would do it. Yeah.
You know, then that's how I would do it. Yeah. So, but when it comes to actually like upselling, oh God, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I know you guys go into all different types of rooms, mechanical or residential, all kinds of stuff. Do you guys cringe when you sometimes see what was left from the last plumber? And
all the time.
I know that you guys take a lot of pride in how you guys leave it. But how important is that lesson to understand that while you're working, you're clean, you're organized, and how you leave it regarding valves and, you know, plates and just how tidy it is in certain areas, how to try to make it more efficient. And also in the back of your head, always thinking about future service calls, right? Are we getting more and more pride-filled plumbers out there that are understanding that these little techniques are very valuable?
50-50.
50-50, really,
I would say less than that even.
Really?
Yeah.
For me,
there's a lot of,
right?
Wow.
Like when you say like plumbers coming into it, like I'll have some apprentices who I'll tell them like, if you want it tidier, you can do it this way. Like, you know, if I come back, it has to be cleaned up. Job's not finished unless it's clean. And some of them just take that and they're like, okay, that's who I am. Some of them I'm like, remember what I said for the last 6 months? Like, you know, or does this look tidy to you? Because it doesn't look tidy to me. And they're like, oh, it's good enough. So I'm getting like 50-50 who are like, yeah, this is how I want the job done. And then I'm getting, you know, some who are like, this is good enough. I don't like the good enough ones, but I think you can work with them and try to get them, I hope.
Are you guys here in the studio?
Well, in terms of like tidying up, of course I'll tidy up my work, but there's some times where they don't want us. Like if I'm doing on call and it's like 1 a.m. and I'm dealing with a backup, they actually don't want me there to clean because now I'm there on double time. And it's cheaper for their cleaners who they have on staff to follow up with me. So like they want me out of there quick. So it's always a little bit of a trip though to like walk out of a site and I'm like, can I at least have like a wet floor sign if you're not going to give me a mop? Because like I don't want to be like in trouble if anything happens. But yeah, a lot of people like don't want plumbers to clean because they're too expensive.
That makes sense.
I've got a Portuguese wet floor sign over there.
That works. Can I have it?
So because I know that you guys will come in and see, and it's like you always get that story, that horror story. It's like, what were they thinking when they were leaving this? Like they thought the job was done at that time. The job wasn't done. That's part of the job, right? But you guys are educating your apprentice that way, right? Like those lessons are, and you probably heard them as well too, Megan, when you were coming into the business. That was part of it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely having a tidy. I mean, like I don't have my own business yet or anything like that, so I haven't really had much perspective on other people. But I do know that having a clean workspace is definitely key. I definitely have certain standards that I follow in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and clean your trucks. My God, some people's trucks are they're dangerous. You can't go in there. That's dangerous. But yeah,
or all the lunches on the dash.
Yeah, actually, that's how you break your windshield. Is if you hit the brakes and there's something heavy on your dash, it's gonna crack your windshield. But yeah, my old journeyman had a disaster of a truck, and I knew where everything was. It was an organized mess, but I knew the longer I stayed here, the more likely I was to fall out of this truck, and it's high up, and it wouldn't be pretty. And that's an avoidable hazard, and one day it's gonna happen to him, and you don't wanna fall out of your truck.
I can see though why it is tough sometimes to keep things clean though, especially when you have had a long day. You're I just wanna put my tools. At this
end
point.
the day. I just want to end the day.
So yeah, I think we all have, I think we all have things to kind of improve on too, right? Like I do, anyways, on some of my stuff that I need to organize more of, which
Pack out.
Yeah, pack outs. Yeah,
it's the game changer.
Game changer. I used to just I used to be a disaster. My truck van was a disaster, and then pack out.
Yeah. I mean, I always had some sort of method to keep my vans fairly clean and organized. It was harder when I with the last company I worked with, because it was just a regular sized cargo van. And then when I bought the company, I'd had that as well, which I shelved out and it was fine. But as soon as you start diving into all different types of plumbing, you're into drain cleaning, you're into mechanical, you're doing gas, you accumulate a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And so I ended up getting a cube van, which was fine, except for my fuel bills. And that was
parking.
That was great. You know what? I've never really had issues with parking because I've always driven vans or trucks. I actually have never owned a car. You should see when I drive a car. It's comical because I drive them like vans. It's hilarious.
Wide right turns. Okay.
Wide turns. Yeah. So the Q-Van was great, really hard on fuel, but then I got my Sprinter, which I shelved out. And then once I started going to the pack outs, it was just because I already had my shelves there, and then I started getting all the mounting plates and putting the shelves, the toolbox shelves in. I was like, oh man, this, I was just in my glory, spent my life savings putting it together, but man, is it deadly.
So you guys as plumbers, you get a lot of questions asked of you of what do you think? Marianne, you mentioned this, what are your thoughts on something like that? So you get a lot of clients, or I guess people in the commercial world, you get a lot of supers that are asking you, can you decide on what we're going to use? Because you guys get that final decision. So do a lot of plumbers these days choose inferior products to still get the job done? So we go back to the good enough. So if you're choosing a fitting, or if you're choosing something that's a little more inferior, or fittings or faucets, things like that, are you guys choosing better quality because you know that you won't have to come back? Or are you choosing the one that fits the budget of the job, the scope of work?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I don't mind if the homeowner buys their own fixtures. It really doesn't bother me at all. I'll put in whatever you have, but it's not under warranty.
Mm-hmm.
So make that choice. Yes, the one that I bring is going to be a better quality, probably won't have a callback. You always get the odd lemon. But if there is something wrong, at least I'm coming back for free. But if you buy your own, then it's all on you, So yeah. I always give the option.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never recommend to somebody that they install a faucet they got at IKEA. Even if it holds for a little while.
Just went right to IKEA.
Yeah. I just,
or Amazon.
Where do you get those cartridges? Those aren't serviceable. And even if you probably tried to repair it, the second you open it up, it'll never go back together the same. So yeah, I mean, I don't feel like plumbers get a lot of input in terms, at least like with the finishings and stuff like that. Normally I feel like it's the client or the GC who gets to select the fixtures and finishings and stuff like that. And we kind of just go in and install it. You can always like put your 2 cents in, but whether or not they care is
They're not
a
really
different
listening.
story. Yeah. So
When they should be.
yeah, they definitely should be. And like an IKEA faucet, like I don't know if you want to use that. Like when you go under your sink a week from now to clean up, you're going to be like, oh, where's this water coming from? And like my vanity is like bowing. Like that's not a good thing.
No.
Yeah.
Is plumbing technology just advancing too fast or not fast enough? Joining the ranks of tens of thousands of satisfied doll customers allows you to experience the doll difference firsthand. You can trust in the quality and the durability of their products, backed by a company with a long-standing reputation for excellence. With Doll, you're not just purchasing a great product, but you're also gaining a reliable partner that is committed to your success. Check out Doll at www.dollvalve.com and on social at dollvalve. Are you guys getting bombarded?
I would say not fast. Well, I mean, we've come a long way from, where we used to be. But I do think that there are so many improvements and innovations that this plumbing industry can really improve on. I guess one of the things being, look at all of our water quality issues, right?
That's a very good point.
There's a lot of man-made chemicals getting into our water supplies nowadays. And as a plumber, I'm concerned because I install these systems. And so like, for instance, there's PFAS that is getting into the water supply now. There's things like lead, aging infrastructure, stuff like that. And, being able to have the proper technologies of filtration systems to be able to properly filter that out for someone to be drinking, I think needs to be improved on a lot. Just because, like, for instance, PFAS, right? That is a man-made chemical, and it can affect a person at a parts per trillion. So, to find the technologies to be able to reduce it to a parts per trillion is super complex, and they're working on it right now. So, yeah, I think in terms
Are you seeing an uptick from clients going, let's have a conversation about this? Because now you're going to start implementing your own filtration systems in your own place and also commercial residences as well?
Yeah, well, I think that it's a level of awareness that I think needs to happen, a lot of education around this topic. In particular, I think a lot of people don't actually know what they're really drinking when they're drinking from their water resources. I think one of the things I ask people is, do you know where your water is coming from? And oftentimes people don't even know that question, that don't even know how to answer that because they don't know. They don't know where it's coming from. They don't know what materials are supplying their water, right? They don't know if they have lead piping in their homes, right? I think that is super important, knowing what kind of lead is in your home or what kind of piping is in your home, because if you have lead, and let's just say the water treatment plant isn't putting orthophosphate to coat that lining of that lead, you're going to have higher levels of lead in that water, right? Or you're going to have incidences like Michigan, right, where they had high levels of lead in that water. And the thing is that people didn't have the technologies to really combat the amount of lead that went into these homes. Right. So like if you put a Brita filter in with the amount of lead that came out of that faucet, that would not be effective at filtering the amount of lead that was in there. Right. So, yeah.
Have you guys from out east and out west, have you guys had lovely Toronto water?
Well,
I will not.
well, Newfoundland actually is known for arsenic and known for uranium.
Really?
Yeah.
We have free government testing for arsenic. So like recently, actually we spoke about this at the bar.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I recently got my well tested because it's free testing. You just drop it down, get a sample, drop it down. You follow the instructions, and thankfully my well is a healthy one.
Can I note to that though?
Yeah,
Sorry? Okay, I want to just add something to that though. The only thing and the most common misconception that most people have is, yes, there is resources available through the government to be able to, test your well water. But the thing is that like, what about all the other stuff that might be in there that you don't know of? Like, let's just say there was pesticides being sprayed, right, in the distance, but you didn't know about it. And then, like the government doesn't cover herbicides and pesticides, and you have that in your well water. That's not something that is covered, right, by the government. So I think, in terms of innovation and education around, the things that are in our water supply, I think is super important, that level of awareness. So.
But I mean, outside of the health, which I totally agree with you on, is very risky. It's also creating more damaging risks to all the products that people are spending a lot of time and money on. And then you guys coming in and servicing, installing these products, and then you're having failures when they shouldn't be failing, right?
Yeah.
So, and how do you communicate with your clients on that level? Try to explain to them that it's not necessarily the product, it's more about the infrastructure.
Yeah, there's tons of devices that are very sensitive to elements that can be in the water, and things shouldn't be installed unless they're downstream of a filter. There's definitely tons of things, and that makes installation, at least your initial installation costs, pretty expensive for some people, which is a pain in the butt, but it's important if you want your devices to have any kind of longevity.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you guys be open to collaborations, or have you guys collaborated with, I know that you guys are probably connected at some point, but have you guys worked together on job sites, or are you guys interested in working together and expanding that reach? So
I would love that, but
That
I
would
think
be-
we're a bit
far.
We're a little far.
Yeah.
it's a road trip.
The
It's a plane
opposite-
trip.
Like a 20-hour drive
opposite
to work.
ends of the country.
No, but
I love that idea. I've talked to like Eric from Mechanical Hub. Like I'll be, eventually going over and spending like a week with him.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and like the whole idea, like I love seeing it myself, like especially because I've been on Instagram for so long. Like when I see, two people I follow like hang out and work together, I'm just like, I just eat it right up.
meeting of the
I think
minds,
it's
like
really-
what's going on there? We got to figure out. Yeah, I know, problem
just-
solving.
Yeah, and especially when one is a, we'll say a specialist in sewer and drainage, and then you've got one heating guy, and they're in different worlds. I really love watching that go down. Like when people go, because Pro Drains Rob, he has guys come and he trains them from Instagram. He's all the time saying like, guys, come in, I'll teach you how to line a sewer pipe. And we'll put it on Instagram. And he's done that a few times. And like, I think Instagram is incredible that way. So like collabs, I eat that up, man. I think it's incredible.
I agree with you. I totally would like to see a lot more manufacturers go, listen, why don't we get this person from here and this person from, like, it'd be great to get a plumber from every province and territory in Canada and just meet somewhere and solve a problem.
It'd be incredible,
sweet.
especially considering how different our landscapes are and the environmental issues that we all run into. Yeah, super plumbers.
Super plumber, like a Justice League of Plumbers or something like that. Is that what it is?
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's right. Just
The plumbing
like,
hall of Canada or something. Yeah. How do you guys
filled with pack out?
fill out? It's all pack out walls. It's all block pack outs. That's what it is. So you'll
I'd
find
watch
it.
that show.
Yeah, totally.
Marketing wise, how are you guys? It's a different landscape back in the old days because obviously plumbers and every other trade. What was it? It was a magnetic sticker slapped on the side of the door panel, and that was the marketing extent of it. And then they got really savvy with lawn signs, right? And threw the lawn signs on there, right? What are we doing differently these days? What are we to get our message out there, to get our brand out there, to get our face? It's just,
Lovely stickers.
Yeah, stickers.
I think there's also tools on social media where you can promote posts and whatnot. And I think Facebook has some kind of technology. I haven't looked into it because I don't have a company that I'm trying to push. But I believe that when you look up, like you're looking for plumbers, Facebook can actually push suggestions. And if you pay into it, I think to a degree, Facebook will push your company to their suggestion to people who Facebook already knows is looking for plumbers.
Interesting.
Kind of creepy technology, but it's you can definitely use it for yourself.
Smart, traded. Yeah. And you guys are seeing the same thing on your neck of the woods?
Yeah,
Yeah,
social
I mean,
media is crazy there.
yeah, social media is huge for sure. I mean, I personally have quite a large disconnect between my social media and like Instagram and TikTok and my actual business. I don't really join the two. Some people, some of my clients do follow me on Instagram, but for the most part, it's very much separate. I'll post the odd thing on my Facebook business page, but I'm more of the word of mouth because I'm already maxed out with how many jobs I can take, and I'm already busy enough that I have to turn away so much work that I try not to market much of the business on social media or at all, really. I drive a van that has basically a billboard on the side of it.
Yeah.
So people see our vans around and then we get word of mouth, and that's pretty much it. I use Instagram and TikTok and that type of social media almost strictly for just promoting the trades and trying to get people into it. That's why I started it all. I kind of got muscled into it actually because I was very reluctant. I was a late comer onto the Instagrams.
The social platforms.
I got forced into it for the most part by some women that I know, and I was reluctant because
should you be holding a newspaper
thing.
right now or something like that? I don't understand what's going on here. You're forced into this thing.
Well, they sort of,
Blink twice if you're okay.
Blink twice.
They were just like, well, you really should be on social media because of, you're super inspiring, what you do, not everybody does it. And it's like, but I had already been.
I kind of love, Marianne, that you're saying that you use it just to promote the trade and the work. And then lastly, you use it to promote your business. I kind of like that.
I don't use it to promote my business.
No, like it's the last thought of it, right? Like you're focusing more on the trade itself and the industry itself, and
because we don't have workers, and it's a really big problem. So if I can help out in some way that I can by making it look inviting, maybe I do. I am one of those people that glamorize it a bit because I don't show the crummy stuff as much. The crummy part of the job, in my opinion, is not.
It's not crummy
work.
Yeah.
Like if I'm dealing with the plug drain, like I was never a service plumber before. I was a new construction plumber. That's what I did. And gas fitter. I did everything was new construction. So service side of things is fairly new to me, within the last 10 years anyways. And so I don't even know where I was going now. I lost my train of thought. ADD.
No, social media marketing. Social media marketing.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't have people going into the trade as much as we need. So I'm trying to make it look inviting for people, and yes, I show the full trade. I don't show mostly the crummy side of it. I don't know if we can swear, but the shitty side of it, because it's all when it comes to the people, the clients, not all of them. Most of them are fabulous, but you get the odd bad one. Yeah. Sometimes the job won't go as planned and it sucks when it happens. Sometimes you have product failure and you have a leak, and that sucks, especially when it's a bad one. And have I ever posted one of those? No, I am grateful I haven't had one recently, but it's all part of it. But I guess, yes, when it comes to like glamorizing the trade, I am guilty of that 100%. Yeah. So, but I'm trying to get people to come into it and not be scared of it,
I post the bad stuff and the good stuff that happens in
you
the
should
trades.
be posting both sides.
Yeah, I post the gross stuff too. Like I'll be pulling out like the massive hair
See,
ball.
that's not bad. That, in my opinion, isn't bad. That I post too. I just don't post the stuff where I get like super frustrated or because it happens, like I get frustrated on the job sometimes, but I don't ever post that because one, I don't want people to see that side.
Yeah.
And two, I'm frustrated. So the last thing I'm going to do is go set up my camera and video myself being all pissed off at the situation. It's just not good. Oh man.
I posted a broken sink. So I glued the sink to the stone, and I wasn't confident that it was tight enough. So then I reefed it even a little bit more tighter, and then I left. I'm like, I'm done. That's good. Then I get a phone call, come back, and I cracked the sink because I put too much pressure on it. So then I posted the picture, and I got a whack of likes and comments because I owned it. I owned that I messed it up, right? Yeah. And then I took the sink. They just
People love that realer.
yeah, like you just like sure it happened. I was a little, I guess, just a little too aggressive with the tightness of it and thinking that it was going to be a perfect seal. But then I made it too tight, and then it was a nasty crack, like a nasty crack. And then I had to order a new sink, and then I had to take out that old sink out there without damaging the stone, and then it was just slow things. But then you fix it and you post it and you tell the story, and you're like, yeah, I owned it. So I got the love because I owned it. Right. And that's what goes back to tradespeople being problem solvers. So sure, I created the problem. I'm the bad guy. So then I'm also the good guy because I figured it out. Right.
Yeah. And it's important to keep it real that way because that's real life. Like you're not going to go out there and be perfect every single day. No. Like we're not machines. And even if we were
not
like
politicians.
Yeah. Right. And machines fail too. So it's important to a degree, like keep it real. And what Marianne said, I do the same thing. I do not post my psychotic episodes because sometimes like plumbing like makes me psycho.
You don't want to see it.
Oh yeah, you don't want to see it. One time my old foreman had come in while I was working on something and I was getting frustrated and I was like swearing by myself like a lunatic and he was filming it and I was like wow, and he put it on his story everything and I was like I'm in on this joke, but like thank God I have a boyfriend because there's no way I'd get one after this. Because, I went full psycho. I was full psycho by myself in a basement being crazy.
You went all the way to become an electrician.
Oh, yeah. Right. I went crazy.
I want to see this video.
No, you don't.
Yeah, also. Sign me up.
I'd love to know from you guys, tank or tankless? What do you guys prefer?
Tankless.
There's not much tankless around my island.
Okay.
No? Really?
No.
That's what I figured. I figured it'd be mostly tank, yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly tank here, yeah.
So tankless, Marianne, and you guys? Tank?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with tankless except for the combi boilers. And so I would go with tank. I feel like they're so easy. So easy.
Do you guys put in the condensation neutralizers when you do the tankless, though? Have you ever heard them?
The rare occasion I do them, yes.
Yeah.
Depends on where it's going.
Right.
If it's like going into copper cast metal of any degree normally, then neutralizer for sure.
I'd love to get all four of your thoughts on design of plumbing fixtures these days. Who's actually killing it and who's destroying it?
Yeah.
Who's got some
I'm pretty disappointed I'm pretty disappointed in American standard these days. They're gonna hate me for saying that, but like they just don't come out with anything that I'm like.
What's the reason? What's the reason?
Honestly, like it's the cost of it is mind blowing compared to like what you're getting. I find they're just really not. They're not stepping up and trying to change anything. They're staying the exact same.
There's no innovation. No innovation whatsoever.
Yeah, no innovation in the slightest. And like I don't need. I'm not the type of person who needs this like new age home or anything. But you gotta start stepping up with the other companies if you're going to be charging those prices, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not seeing it from them.
Any thoughts, Marianne?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think they all have their plus and minuses, I guess it depends on what we're talking about, like what kind of fixtures we're talking about, because
I don't know. Well, you've got laundry fixtures. Like, I mean, just, I feel that laundry sinks are getting smaller and smaller, which I'm sorry, but a laundry sink is supposed to have a function. So I go back to form versus function. Are we forgetting that these rooms are designed for a purpose? So I think that designers are having too much say and tradespeople are having less say because
that's a good point.
We know what it takes to properly outfit each form functioning room, right? Yeah. So it's like, don't give me a sink that's the size of a bar sink for me to take care of what I have to take care of in a laundry.
That is just for an example. Everyone has a big laundry sink here.
Okay, so that's
We're
there.
Like messy people.
But here in Toronto, you're seeing a lot of people like laundry rooms now are not laundry rooms.
They're so glamorous.
They're glamorous and the sinks are tiny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tiny.
Really?
Splash everywhere.
You see my laundry sink. It's gnarly. I got a double
It's a
sink.
trough. It's a trough.
All
Huh?
rusty. It's basically a trough. It is metal. It's so heavy. It's disgusting.
It's interesting when you have like customers that want like the old-fashioned stuff. So like they want to install like the old-fashioned sink versus the sink they already had, which was brand new, like which is really nice. But everyone's preference, right? But like I find sometimes it's a little bit more of a challenge installing the older stuff than the newer stuff. But yeah.
You mean okay, so repurposing the older stuff or some of the new stuff that's
like just
designed
kind of
inspired by the old stuff?
Yeah, designed and inspired
like
by
the
the old
barn
stuff.
sinks and stuff.
And then you'll get the apron sinks, I guess, whatever, and then you'll have the 2-handle kitchen faucets with no pull out, right? There's a bunch of stuff like that. But then they'll want all kinds of bells and whistles in their master shower, as many heads as possible, technology, wiring, all kinds of stuff in there, speakers, mood, light, all that kind of crap. Give the kids just a hose bib. Hose bib in the kids' bathroom.
I put a fancy shower in my house. And I put like body sprays in there with this, like, mind you, my shower head's pretty awesome. It's like 20-inch flush fit to the ceiling.
Rain head?
Nice.
But I put rain head. Big square thing, 20-inch.
Is it true that most women don't like rain heads?
I hate them.
Really?
I'm hearing most of my women clients don't like rain. They want like hard water. They want a car wash.
Well, I had that option too. I've got like the wand sprayer, but I put in body sprays. And do you think I've ever used them? No.
Nobody does.
I do.
No.
Every day.
I actually turned them on not too long ago, and the water smelt coming out of them because it sat for so long that I actually have to like flush them out every now and again to keep the water
I'm on a
moving.
well, so I'm like, shower off.
Right.
I'm very water conscious
am I.
anyways, but you're never going to see any kind of fancy over the top fixture in my house.
I have a well that is very low producing, but if there's one thing I will not sacrifice, it's my epically long showers.
Like, we're not drinking water tonight, honey.
Yeah. Don't you dare flush the toilet.
I'm getting a shower.
Yes. You better be filling up the rain barrel just so we can dump water down the bowl.
See, that's normal. That's how it should be.
Priorities.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I guess like more thoughts on design and like, it leads me to like think about the future of plumbing. What's it going to be like? What do you guys think it's going to be like?
Well, one thing I know I hate is actually a faucet made by Dyson, and it is
Dyson?
Yeah,
the vacuum company.
Yeah, the vacuum company.
Oh, the motion one.
Yes, so it's a censored faucet.
I've seen
you wash
this,
your hands, and then
useless.
it has these 2 branches, and they're hand dryers.
It looks like it belongs to Star Wars.
Yeah,
I know.
It's not very nice looking to start with. I also noticed, I don't know if it's just everybody who installed them. It's in a large retail store here, and they're always loose, but I think that's more an installation error. But when those sinks clog and you go, or they don't drain very quickly, and you go to dry your hands, it like blasts gross water at you. And on the mirror, and it's like, man, why do I have to be here right now? Like, I don't like these things. I don't like those faucets.
So someone designed that correctly.
I'm guessing the power supply is concealed too, so it's not like you could just...
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is,
I don't like any of those battery operated faucets.
Yeah,
Any faucet that involves power, I am like not. I do not like them. I've never seen one that has worked properly all the time. I used to have one. I had one of those touch faucets. It was terrible. It was the worst faucet I ever owned.
We've gotten that lazy as a society that we're basically just one step away from Wall-E Land, like the movie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get why they're inviting, so you don't have to like touch it. Like I had chicken hands for making my dog chicken strips last night, and I've got like chicken everywhere. It's all over my faucet. Like I am probably not the most food safe person, but so I get it because the faucet's covered in goo. It's disgusting, but I don't know. I'd rather that than having a faucet that only works temporarily.
Although it is
having the option is fantastic. I mean, strictly because there are people out there with disabilities who, could absolutely avail from such technologies. But when you're buying them in mass and installing them in buildings all over the place, and then all of a sudden there's a power surge and all the step down transformers blow out, and toilets won't flush because you got to pop in new 100 new step down transformers. Like, this is where we're running into have we gone too far? But there's absolutely a need for sensor and electronics. I personally believe so. But do we make them better? Yeah, let's make them better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's also a hygiene thing in public restrooms and stuff. So, if you can get things to be censored and touchless, it is beneficial, just especially in public restrooms. I don't know if censored things really belong in residential settings.
It's right up there with like backlit cabinetry in your kitchen, and like I don't need any of that stuff. It just doesn't. I don't get it. Like I just don't. I think it's like I'm not walking into some glamour magazine home. Like it's.
I will note one thing though. No, but I do have a toilet. See, I have the Toto Washlet, the fanciest model that has the auto lift seat.
No way.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. So yes. Okay. So maybe
is that one lit? Is that one lit too?
100%. It lights up. Yes, as well.
Cool.
It lights up when you enter the room. The lid lifts and there's like a light in the toilet. It gives it a pre-spray.
Even in darkness. Even in darkness, our lights adjust to the darkness.
Well, you can have a post spray. There's a remote for that. But it gives a pre-spray to the bowl, so it like primes it, and then I
want to wake up and be like, Alexa, heat up my seat.
It's coming.
You know what I want? My Alexa
it's already there. Your Alexa just went off right now. Is it preheating your seat?
Yeah. She's like, what do you need, girl? She's so attentive.
I can't wait.
I do love the heated seat.
I can't wait when they can design like some sort of like robotic thing that can like just haul your toilets up and down the stairs for you.
No, never gonna happen.
I would love that.
And I really wish they would design certain toilets, like talking about total, but I mean, I really wish they would design them so they're a little easier to carry one person.
The one-piece toilets are brutal.
Yeah, but they're not really best where to grab it to carry it, right?
Yeah.
And the whole time you grab it and you are lift off, what's your thought process during the whole time? It's figuring out, how is it going to drop? Like, is it going to land? Is it going to crack? And then I got to start all over again. So I wish they would make it a lot easier. I know there's that handle that you could put it inside there. I've seen some plumbers do that.
I feel like I don't trust.
I don't trust it either.
There's one false move and it's like, or one failure. And
you install it, put it in there, and you go to your apprentice, give me your bubble gum. And so I can just put it in there and just secure it and then go there.
I just stick my hand in the drain part of the toilet, the hole. Yeah. And no, not the lip.
Oh, you're talking about
the actual trap.
Yeah. I stick my hand in the trap and then one on the back side.
Oh, interesting.
That's just how I've always done it.
Challenge.
Not when they're used toilets.
No. Brand new toilets. I know. Brand new toilets. So there are some nice bells and whistles coming out there. There are some nice. And I agree with you. I heard you, Marianne, say that. Listen, I love my heated seat. Don't ever take the heated seat away from me.
Even in the summer, I love my heated seat.
No, I'm not that crazy. I've had clients who leave their heated floors on during the summer months, and I'm like, really, people? Really?
I don't know. I would love to have that. I have like Raynaud's disease, which like has your hands and your feet are like super cold.
Oh, you're always cold?
Yeah.
You'll love a heated seat.
Summertime?
You'll love it.
Yeah. Summertime would be great for in-floor heating.
But if there's somehow they can make a porta potty with a heated seat, that'd be amazing.
Porta
potties?
No, definitely not.
We need less heat. We need less heat in porta potties.
Like a chiller.
Am I the only one that I don't mind using it unless it's the dead of winter and it's been a busy week and the truck didn't arrive? Okay, then I mind a porta potty. But and I bought ribs for everybody. That's I don't mind porta potties. I know you guys because you guys don't always get. I get the proper porta potties, separate urinals, separate toilets, heated, and a hot and cold water sink, right? The proper ones.
Oh, I thought you're like heated.
No, a heated seat. I was just because I was trying to that'd be kind of nice because it's always cold.
I never sat in a porta potty. Never sat.
You hover.
Yeah.
That's
oh yeah,
true.
there is no sitting on the seat.
But it's kind of like being
No.
next. It's kind of
That
next
is not
to
okay.
being like an electric heat bar or something like that. You can have the heat coming off the seat. Hopefully, it's the heat coming off the seat.
I don't know about heat. No, we want people to spend less time in the porta potties.
Choose Dahl for your plumbing needs and discover the peace of mind that comes with their unwavering reliability and exceptional service. Experience the Dahl difference and join the growing community of the contractors who trust in their experience and rely on their products. Check out Dahl at www.dahlvalve.com and on social at dahlvalve.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay, getting off of porta potties right now. How's the warranty out there for all your products? Are they getting better? Are they upholding them? Are they lasting? Or are they like something goes wrong and you call the number and the service and you're like, the number you reached is not in service. Like, how is it these days?
Some companies are pretty good. Yeah, some it varies.
Getting
really.
worse.
Yeah.
Remember one
Getting worse.
time I installed a kitchen faucet and it was leaking. It was leaking at a very weird spot, and I called the company and they were actually quick to respond, which was really nice. Because, waiting. I've had other jobs where I've waited for an hour and I'm like, okay, I got it. This is crazy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've called and I'm like, how do I take this part off? And they kind of gave me the specs and everything. And I was able to take it completely out of proportion and just fix it. But yeah, the warranty was pretty good on that. The troubleshooting, I really enjoyed.
What company was that?
I can't, it's funny because I can't remember. I installed this, it was a faucet that was provided by the customer, and I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, but it wasn't, I remember it being a nice brand though. It was pretty good. I can't remember though.
And Danielle, you were saying that it's getting worse for you guys?
I personally think it's getting worse, but again, I've been around for a hot minute, so it's, what I remember it being. I remember... not to call them out, but Ream is breaking my heart.
I don't like Ream.
Their warranty, and their customer service. If you're, one story that really screams at me every time is I got this tank, installed it for this customer. She had 2 twin baby girls, new tank, and of course, the family needs hot water. She just gave birth to twins, the babies need showers, the dad, is not sleeping. So I installed it on a Friday morning. And of course the tank quite literally leaks from every, angle as soon as I turn it on, right? Wow. You're talking the elements, the casting on the elements was completely, just shot, right? So it was leaking from there. And so I phoned them. And by the time that I actually got, through to, customer service to actually get a new tank, they were essentially like, yeah, you're going to have to wait until Monday because we're closed now. And it's no evenings, no weekends. So I had to go out, with my money, buy them a new tank, bring it in, install it. And essentially had to fight with Ream for months later to get my money back. Wow! And it was a disaster, it was that or this family with 2 newborn babies had no hot water for a weekend. That's insane.
Wow. That's
crazy.
So
if your Ream tank breaks on a Saturday, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a beef with Ream for sure. Yeah. There was then that subdivision I used to work for, the mechanical rooms. It was like a geo exchange system, and they had these water heaters, and we had to take out the spigot at the bottom, put a thread of tea in, and they started apparently leaking. And I was the only one doing the mechanical rooms. So they had a meeting with the super of the subdivision, the rep from Ream, my boss, the refrigeration company, everybody but me.
Right.
And they were just like, she's over tightening or maybe under tightening. We're not really sure. And they're all leaking and this is happening, blah, blah, blah. It's a running thread. Why are you guys putting nipples in there? I was like, fuck is running thread? Anyways, So there was this big to-do. It was all she's doing it wrong, and she buggered up all these tanks, like dozens of them. It was dozens, and it continued. And then they cut apart a tank and tried to figure it out, and they never actually figured it out until one day somebody checked the TMP tube. It was the expansion tanks that were failing.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So they were blowing out the TMP.
Did you get an apology?
No, never.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Never. No.
Yeah.
So I've never bought a Reen product since. Not willingly, anyways.
Yeah.
Marathon is one thing because they're like, they kind of got
That's right.
the monopoly
Yeah,
on
I will
that.
say I do like a marathon thing.
But yeah, I do like the marathon.
I'll
So that's
never
the only
admit
one, though.
And you guys
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
My experience with warranty claims has actually been pretty good. Common products in commercial is Sloan, Deltas, American Standards, and stuff like that. More so Sloan, I have a pretty good relationship with. I mean, repair parts, things like that are very easy to get, and they seem to honor anything that goes wrong. And it's not often that it is a warranty claim. Anything can be defective. Anything,
Yes.
even fittings, can be defective. So, yeah, in my experience, it's always been relatively simple process to return and or exchange things as defective in my experience, which is good.
Megan, same or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've been like the easiest for me, and it's actually pretty common in Hamilton, is Moen. You know, I've like the cartridges are so easy to find, which I really like.
That makes me nervous.
Why?
That
They
they're
have to be.
Yeah, that's why it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Why do you have such a readily available amount of cartridges to replace?
That Positemp has to be easy to find.
Well, I've never
Damn.
like they do last actually quite a long time that I know of anyways.
Yeah, I agree. I think Moen's pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good in terms of quality. I think they're pretty good.
When you say Sloan, I know Sloan, mostly Sloan is urinals, right?
Sloan does flushometers. They also do make fixtures and stuff, commercial fixtures,
Yeah,
toilets.
it's mostly in
and
the
whatnot.
commercial world, right? You guys know the story about the urinals in the Fly in Germany?
No.
There was a big problem with men not being able to aim. So they kept on missing and making such messes in public washrooms with their urinals. So a marketing rep came up with this idea of putting a fly sticker right in the urinal. And guess what men do? They always hit the fly perfectly. And the messes were all gone.
Genius.
It's genius. Absolutely genius.
That's 3M innovation.
So funny.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to ask you guys about, I know that, okay, so Megan, you might go into business on your own one day, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I might do some sort of collab with my boss. I'm not too sure yet. Just because I really do enjoy working in this company. So yeah, I do think that I am probably going to do a lot of focusing on water quality issues. So, installing filtration systems, spreading awareness, doing all that kind of
Trust
stuff.
me, we need it.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah. But I mean, business-wise, what are you guys doing that's like just implementing ideas to move businesses forward, your business forward, and then keep on growing it, which leads me to my next point after we answer all this and discuss it, is just the future, what you guys are planning on regarding retirement. But let's first build a business, and then let's get out of the business and hand it off to somebody else if that's going to be the case.
I'll start, I guess. Second. So I would love to be able to build my business, but this has been a question that has come up a few times and kind of at a roadblock because 1, we have the labor shortage. 2, I'm a woman in a male-dominated industry. Out of all the companies out there, because I am not by choice a woman-only team. I've never been like that because I have hired men in the past. They just usually go work somewhere else after they gain a little bit of knowledge because I usually get them when they're fresh out of the gate, right? And so, excuse me, labor shortage, woman-owned in a male-dominated industry. Out of all the companies that a man or a young man could go work for, why would he choose me out of all of them? Because I'm the only female-owned one here.
Why does
So
what's the number one reason why any person that wants to get into the trades choose that particular business or person or mentor guidance? Why would they choose them? Do you think it's really gender? You think it's?
I think that it plays a big part when it comes to my business, for sure, 100%.
Okay.
The last employee that was male that left, he went to go work for the union, which was fair. You know, I didn't disagree with him there. I think that working for multiple companies throughout your apprenticeship isn't a bad thing because you get knowledge in different areas. But he ended up also working for another company. And when he put my name on his resume, that person said that it was embarrassing to have me on his resume being owned by a woman.
Wow.
In so many words, he
like
said
that's
that, you know,
just
that's the gentle way. So it's a challenge, you know, and because yes, I do have a lot of women send me resumes, but a lot of them are very green or have no experience at all, which is fine, but you can only have so many apprentices per journeyman.
Mm-hmm.
So
another rule that I've voiced should be changed.
yes, I do agree. So, you know, I have a labor pool that's so small to choose from that how do you build a business, or I shouldn't say build a business because my business is doing just fine, but
build a brand.
How do you grow the business to multiple vehicles, multiple employees when you have this huge barrier? You can't. So I will forever, until there's more experienced women plumbers out there that are willing to even work in my town, because I don't live in the big city. If you classify Victoria as a big city, I don't live in the city. Like, I'm 45 minutes out of the city. We do serve Victoria and everywhere in that area, but we're mostly out here. So there's another roadblock, you know? So it's a challenge. So I have kind of changed my goals and directions because I've come to the realization that it's just not going to happen, that I'm quite happy with my small company. And I downsized, and it's a lot less stress, and it's great. But yeah, it's funny how those, you know, goals of having a self-run company with multiple vehicles and multiple technicians, you know, and we all care just as much as I do about each job. It's unrealistic.
I would say it's not going to happen the traditional way. And if anything, what I've been really happy about in doing this show for over 5 years and being in the industry for over 15 years is that I've seen leaps and bounds in the last little while of how things are presented in construction now. And I think that we're at a point where we can shake things up and there'll be a cause and effect, as a positive cause and effect. So, I mean, like, we've all heard all kinds of stuff. You can read all kinds of books from Jacko or whatever, and you can, like, talk about, okay, sure, that's like the shit of it. That's like the typical of it. That's what I'm expecting it. There's going to be some men in the industry that are not going to respect me because I'm a female plumber or whatever. Sure. You can always say it, or you can say, good, I'm going to come up with another way to do this, and this is going to get done. So I definitely see in yourselves and all you guys here on the panel, right, and every other tradesperson I've spoken to, you guys are looking at the industry differently than I looked at it when I first got into it. When I got into it, it was a stuffy polo shirt salesperson talking about a boring industry. And I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as a very vibrant, interesting, potential, energetic industry. So I think that if you don't design the Zoom, design the iPod. You know what I mean? Like, if they're not letting you go this way, then you make your own road and you go this way. And I think that you will have enough of a rally behind you to help you do that. That's how I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm naive about it, but I do see your pain, and I see there are the dinosaurs in the industry that just don't get it. And I've confronted some of those guys. And I just don't get it because I'm colorblind when it comes to anybody's race or where they're coming. I'm an immigrant, and so it's like everybody on me is the equal playing field, right? But I do see that struggle, that it is a male-dominated industry. You guys have a challenge. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you guys off. My neighbor is looking for tools. He comes over all the time.
But I look at it like you guys should maybe be possibly thinking embracing that instead of thinking it as a roadblock, because that's how a new idea is going to come out of the woodwork, right?
Yeah.
And that's how anything It does. And maybe you're at a point where, and I've been at that point too, Marianne, trust me. I'm tired, man. I don't want to fight this fight anymore. Like, this is ridiculous.
That's what it feels like. It does feel like
but I could have quit this podcast like at 15. I could have quit it at like 100. I could have quit all the time. It's not a money-making thing. This is just like we sharing stories, right? So it's like I could have did all that. But now here I am, like over 400, getting close to 500 before the end of the year. And it's just more and more stories. And I'll talk to 1,000 plumbers and I'll have 1,000 different stories. So you guys will figure out what to do next if you really want to do next.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I don't know. I try to be optimistic, but
Laura,
it's a hard one for sure.
I feel like I know what she means when she says that, like, maybe some of the male apprentices wouldn't like, or other companies wouldn't like it just because, like, saying it's embarrassing. I don't know. I feel that. Like, I don't know. I know what you mean when you say that you can figure out a way to work around that barrier, but I'm sure you have thought already, Marianne, long and hard about the how, and you're still stuck at that barrier. So
my thoughts are still the same.
Yeah, to grow
from what they were a few years ago.
Yeah, I know. That's really crummy, honestly. It's nice that you are busy now and the size you are is working for you. But like not being able to grow and having that barrier, like that's really like demotivating. Like that's really harsh.
Are you guys seeing, Danielle and Megan, you guys seeing the same thing or?
No, I'm not. But again, the Newfoundland is a different world than the rest of Canada, I will say.
Yeah.
We've always grown up with, women having to be in the trades to, we're small fishing communities. If women weren't on the boats or out, fixing the homes, then, the sailors wouldn't have a home to come back to, or there wouldn't be enough fish to feed the family. So it is very different here. We are very traditional, kind of a bit of a roughneck type of way of life. I know that because it's born and bred here, gonna die here. And, to say that if I was to have the biggest company around or the smallest company around, anybody would consider my gender being an embarrassment. I can't say that that's ever occurred to me. My gender is, come into question a few times when, on this island, but for the most part, they're just more so want to get a little joke out. I've had a couple of proposals from some backhoe drivers who are about 800 years old. But for the most part, it's, I kind of have a different issue, whereas, I feel like I could do anything. Even though I'm almost 40, I feel like I'm still really young. I'm very healthy. And I'm like, maybe I want to go do power engineering now, maybe, so I don't, I want to like take Marianne and just be like, you can do it all. But I also, I don't want to invalidate your experience either, because I don't know what it's like to live where you live.
It's different here.
And of course it is. Yeah. I just did a stint up in Northern Ontario, doing some millwright work. And I just did that for a 2-week stint. And, so the guys there were like, but you're a woman. And it was the first time I'd really run into that, they got over it in about 5 days. But for the first 5 days, these guys were like, they were calling me the girl, I didn't really care. But, again, I don't want to invalidate where you are. But here, I don't feel like I have a ceiling over my head. Like if I want to do something, I'm just going to do it.
Do you see
and it'll work.
Megan?
I think there's always going to be complex issues that arise in things like this that I think that is a good challenge to try to overcome. Like in this industry, I've always been, frustrated with the way that things go, and I've always been able to try to find ways to overcome that. And I think going forward, like starting a business, I think that, I think perspective is everything. I think that having the perspective and the mindset to try to help you navigate through these challenges and to not have a halt at, the one thing that is stopping you. I don't know. I think there's always ways around it.
I'm kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but.
Well, it's not to say that it's 100% going to be that way, but it's just, there are woman-owned trade companies here. Like there's one that's, she's a fabricator, and I've never met her personally. I would like to one of these days, but she has a very successful business, and she has multiple men working for her. And I think that's absolutely great. And I don't know how she did it, but I just feel like our labor pool is just so much smaller in this industry that it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious.
It doesn't matter if it's me or any other company out there, male owned or not, we're all having the same issues where if you put an ad out for, it doesn't matter if it's a laborer, a journeyman, an apprentice, whatever, you may not get any callbacks. You probably won't actually, because everybody already knows that everybody's hiring all the time. It's just an open standing thing. If the right person comes around, then you'll be hired, right? So yeah, I don't know.
I'm just always. I know that
I try to be optimistic, but
in Canada, it's about 3% of the labor force, right? So in Canada, 38 million people, whatever it is, it's about 1.4, I think it's almost 1.4 tradespeople at different levels of construction, and it's only 3% that are female, right? The U.S. is a little bit greater. I think they're closer to 7% of their workforce, and compared to us. But I'm also trying to think of. I think that probably in Newfoundland, it's probably a greater ratio. I'm assuming more females in trades there than there is as a reflection of the rest of the country.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I could assume, because it's more of we've said it on the show several times. It's people that came from farm backgrounds or hardworking backgrounds. They just kind of navigated towards trades, and then they did really well with it. Versus here, I guess everyone has so many options regarding a career choice, and trades are always at the end. And I'm not dismissing, Marianne, your thought. I do agree with you that if you get tradesmen coming into the industry and they're applying, last on the list is going to go to an interview for a tradeswoman-owned business. It will be last. That's just the truth of it. They might look at
especially when it's a full female team, because they are now working with all women.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It's true.
There's that.
But
it'd be different if I had a crew of men, because it'd be fine. It'd be easy because you know that you're going to work with that said person. But if you know you're going to just work with a bunch of chicks in a job that you're supposed to be in this, male industry, it's just an extra little whammy out there. And not to mention, because of this, I'm now known as a woman-only crew. So
why can't you just be a plumber crew?
By choice.
That's all, just a plumber crew.
What's that?
Just be known as a plumbing crew.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought it would be. But we're we are known for being a woman-only crew, because I've, for the most part, only ever had women. So now it's been put out there to the world that, oh no, you can't apply there. She's all women. You know
what's funny? This just came to my mind, but my friend lives in California, and he has his own company, and he's a Hispanic male, and he was finding it really difficult to get people to call him, because the world is the world, and I won't get into it, but there's subconscious biases and there's biases, and he ended up changing his logo to a white male, and the calls started to flood in.
No way!
I'm not surprised.
Oh
I'm not surprised.
I'm not suggesting this at all, but I'm just I wonder if you all of a sudden you changed your logo to this guy on your van, with a wrench, with the calls.
I don't have my logo. Yeah, but that's another thing. It's the fear in the beginning when starting my company. I didn't have my name on my business card. I did not put it out there at all that it was woman owned. I very much hid that fact because I didn't know what it was going to be like. I know that we don't get hired by people because I'm a woman or we're women. And that's fine because we're too busy anyways for those kinds of people. But in the beginning, man, it was a tough decision. It's like, do you promote it or do you not?
Yeah.
And I chose to not.
Yeah, I would lean on that side too. I would lean on the side of hiding it at the beginning. Yeah, until they hear you on the phone.
It was the safeguard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then they just think you're the secretary. It happens to me still.
Isn't that? Yeah, I hate that. They do. They do. They think you're the dispatcher. They're like, wait,
they think it's like family owned and I'm the daughter. It's like, no, my dad is not a plumber. No, I do his plumbing for him. Yes. Or when I had a secretary,
Yeah, everybody assumes that my dad was a plumber. Yeah, I'm like, my dad was a writer.
So on the other side, we know that we're in trades, and obviously the government's not going to have our pension waiting for us, and we're not going to have our retirement waiting for us. What are you guys planning on, and what are you guys educating the younger trades that are coming in, what the end game is all about here?
I will say that I absolutely have a pension. Again, I have a pension. I pay into RSPs. I use safe stocks and with ETFs, and I teach my apprentices. Well, the ones that I become close to, there's certain ones that tend not to go the way you want it to go. But I've got an apprentice now, Lindsay, who's incredible, and I try to make sure that part of her apprenticeship is also financial literacy, because I've seen too many of tradespeople that I've loved over the years have to stay digging ditches into their 60s and 70s, and they're looking at me going, don't be like me, don't be like me. And that's when you ask the question, what's the biggest problem with the plumbing industry? I think it's that. I think it's a lot of people not planning for their futures and thinking that this money is always going to be there. But we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to, if you're not financially literate, you have to learn that. And there are so many programs out there that you can pick up for free. Yeah. There are ebooks that you can learn. But I think when I decided to become financially literate, because I grew up in housing, parents with no money, I did the whole plumbing thing myself, paid it all myself, and but when I first started getting my paychecks, I was blown right through them. And I was, just buying whatever I wanted because I didn't understand money. Yeah. And it wasn't until I was, in my 30s that I was like, I should learn this. I should take care of my future self. And I wish I had done it sooner. But that's what I'm doing now, is I'm just becoming financially literate.
Yeah. That was my next step in trying to do better financially. I think for me, I did the exact same thing, blow through everything. And I'm going to look into more resources. I'm actually kind of at that point right now where I need to look into resources and stuff like that. And what is my game plan for the future, I think is the most important question you need to ask yourself, for sure.
But don't be afraid to ask other tradespeople too.
Yeah.
Ask them what they're doing. You're not diving into it's not that taboo conversation about money. It's just ask them what they're planning on, what they're doing, what they're considering, and what's happening, how they're saving for their future, and just and not just other plumbers. Ask all kinds of other trades. If you even speak to GCs or supervisors, site supers, and I think the majority of them will be more than willing to share what they're learned, what they're doing. Yep. If it lines up with what you guys are thinking about doing, then by all means, maybe you do your own homework at that time, and then you figure it out. But the point is, don't be blowing through all that and buying all the Milwaukee tools is what I'm trying to say, right? Just buy just enough of them and save a little bit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, having that pension is so important. It really is. I don't know how anybody
that day is going to come fast. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right, totally. I've seen too many 60, 70-year-olds still doing the hard work because they have to do it now. They don't love to do it. They have to do it.
It's actually kind of sad to see.
Yes, it really is. It's disturbing to see.
It's motivating for me to kind of change things.
Local 46 offers a money management program, and I want to take it. And it's not because like I'm terrible with money. It's just because I'm going to use money for the rest of my life, and it is so important that you know how to manage it properly because it will define your future.
Exactly.
Why is there such a hatred between you guys and electricians?
I always thought that was a joke.
Or is it the other way around? Is the hatred between
They're just upset that they have the same size hands as us.
Well, I guess it's just a running joke, isn't it? It's
I
just
think it is. I never thought it was serious.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun. Yeah, they love it. We love it.
I mean, I've cut a wire
it's like
or two.
At least
Like
you're
the
admitting
heads
it.
and the
That's
broom.
good.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of funny. It's always there. So there's always two versions of the stories. Depends on which trade I'm asking.
I've had more issues with drywallers.
Oh, yeah.
I put up their drywall before my plumbing is done.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Tyler's too. You know what? Yeah, Tyler's. They always seem to make like the holes too small when you're trying to put the finishing on for showers and stuff like that, or they cover where the screws are gonna go, and it's like
You become a Tyler at that moment.
yeah,
And that's not your job.
it's madness.
I know.
Yeah,
Nobody gets more flack than the roofers, though, right, Marianne?
It's true. It's true.
It's a fact. That's a fact.
It is. Yeah.
Are you guys seeing an uptick in accessibility? I like seeing mainstream big brand companies that are coming up with non-medicinal looking products for us older folks that as we get older, I don't need it to look like I'm wearing a robe with an open back and having to grab something. Like it's just like, I'd love to have it be more design integrated and, carefully looked at. Like, are you guys seeing more of that stuff on the market and you're actually appreciating it?
I definitely am. I was raised to both my parents are disabled, so my mom was born with no hip socket, scoliosis, and some other scoliosis, spina bifida. My dad is blind, so I'm from birth. I've been seeing the world and how inaccessible it is because I've been watching my parents and how difficult they find just existing. So now when I, walk into these new buildings, it's the first thing I notice. And not only are they accessible, but it's beautiful. It's like not this, metal bar across, but fixtures are being made to more design friendly. You're seeing vanity countertops being designed so that they're wheelchair accessible, but they're also beautiful. That's one of the things that I notice right off the bat in these new buildings, especially like.
Sorry? No, I was just going to say I did an amazing show with Julie Sawchuk, and she's in a wheelchair, and she actually wrote 2 books about designing and building because she was actually renovating her own house, and she literally designed around what it was supposed to be like for her. So she started thinking, I need a book because there weren't any books on the market about proper design and function for people in these situations. And I actually went to her house and we did the show there, and she walked me through everything, the different height countertops for the kitchen, the way the bathroom was all laid out, and the process behind all the blocking behind walls and where to put grab handles and how grab handles evolve with your age. So it's like you just don't put them in 2 spots thinking that's what you're going to be. You have to figure out where you're going to. So it was an amazing show. I'd love to get her back on the show to talk further because she's still pushing that and doing more work at it. And I think she's writing a 3rd book on it as well. I really like that. So I like seeing the companies actually do something like that. I don't know what American Standard's done, so I don't know if you maybe a little more bone to pick with them on that one, see if they're doing anything. But because we're all going to get to that point. Yeah. We're all going to get to that point where we're going to need a little bit of assistance, right? So I do personally love the comfort height toilets. And I was just recently at a friend's place, and he had the one on the bottom there. And I swear, I don't know if it was my perception and my eyesight or something like that, but that toilet looked like it was in the floor. That's how low it was.
Need like a parent to get down to that.
I like comfort height toilet
It's always
seats. I'm
funny
sorry.
when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, you're like, and all of a sudden, no, I was doing number 1, so I was like, wait a minute, that's like a javelin throw at that point, man. That's too far. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, you think you're like in an extreme sport for a second. It's good to feel alive.
I think we're getting close to the end, guys. I really appreciate it. I think we covered quite a bit. If there's anything that's on your minds that you guys want to share, or something else that we haven't discussed, or I think we covered quite a bit.
I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
I would say aging infrastructure, I think.
Oh, yeah, we haven't actually well, you kind of hinted at the lead, and I
Little bit.
1,000% where when I was building my second home and we were tied into the aging infrastructure, and it was just that comment that the city person said, well, you know what, let's just wait here for a little bit and we'll start seeing the rats go through here. And I'm like, what? And that's just a common thing, right? And you're just, why isn't it, like, why don't we have newer supply lines? Why don't we have a cleaner supply? Why don't we have, and I guess it's just, well, here in Toronto I can only speak of, I guess because it's poorly managed.
Yeah. And it's costs too.
But it's gotten so expensive for so many reasons, for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
Why are we approving projects that don't get completed completely? And if they don't get completed, there's a penalty fee. So then the company that got awarded the job still gets paid a certain percentage of the job, but they never did the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I wish that could work in our business.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the job, but give me 70% of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Sounds great.
But how do you change that infrastructure? I know that when I talk to the electricians, they talk about, you know, the grid and battery charging and EVs and all that stuff. And like, we don't have it. We just do not have it.
Yeah, I'm just super excited about what kind of innovations are going to be in terms of like the materials that we are going to be using, and just kind of like the innovation around that. Because I think that, you know, people drinking less contaminated water, I think, is super important. So.
Yeah.
We should just be looking towards other countries that are actually doing it well and it's working for them, and then just kind of copy what they're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's
Crazy.
a lot of advancements there.
Or
Yeah.
am I taking crazy pills at that time?
What a crazy thought.
Yeah, I know, that'd be great. No, I think that's about everything, guys. I mean, other than education, we talked a lot of stuff. I always say that these roundtables were all about, you guys are not competition. I could totally see all four of you guys being on the same job site and just doing a hell of a job, like, and just enjoying it and having a lot of fun.
Happen.
Yeah, you could totally make that happen, and we should make it happen.
Amazing. That'd be fun.
We went. What was it called again?
There's no-
It was called the Justice Hall of Plumbing, or what was it? Yeah.
We'll think.
We
of a
would get
name.
nothing done.
No. You'll get it all done. That's what it is. But I always said
We'll be having too much fun.
it's about community. It's not about competition. Everyone's willing to share. You guys are seeing that over social media, and I really appreciate you guys spending the time and coming here and talking and sitting down and sharing. And now you're inspiring other people that are considering the trade or want to work in the trade, or maybe electricians that want to switch over to you guys. That kind of mentality. Maybe that's not going to happen. But no, I like these conversations. I really like them because I learned myself, and I wish I had this 15 years ago, right? So all we can do is just keep on getting the conversations out there. That's all I ask, right? So
Exactly. Yep.
thank you to all. I'd love for you guys to share all your deets again, so anyone that's trying to connect and reach out and send you a message. by all
Okay.
means.
I'm Laura, and I'm my plumbing adventure on Instagram. And I don't use TikTok. Don't message me on TikTok.
And again, my name is Megan, and my Instagram handle is Water Plumber Girl, and I'm also on TikTok as well, Water Plumber Girl as well.
YouTube yet? Or
I started YouTube. Yeah, slowly growing it. So
just
that was
focus
the
on
last
shorts.
platform.
Just focus on shorts.
Yeah, I am.
And you'll do well.
Are you
Yeah.
Water Plumber Girl on YouTube as well?
Yes, yeah.
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 Okay, gotcha.
But TikTok is doing pretty well. So
Nice.
it's been good.
Marianne?
Marianne or Mary. It depends on, I guess, personal or Instagram. And I am _Lady Plumber. Oh, Instagram and TikTok. Yeah. Did I say that?
Same handle? Yeah, same handle.
Same handle.
It's the same handle, yeah. Okay.
No,
I didn't know you were on TikTok.
Well,
I'll have to
no.
give you an ad. I didn't know you were
Yeah,
on
I'm on
TikTok.
TikTok too.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know you were on TikTok too.
I'll
I'm
add you.
gonna find you. Danielle.
She's about 6 feet away from you right now. And Danielle?
Yeah, Danielle, the littlest plumber, mostly just Instagram for my plumbing and tool content. I'm on TikTok too, but I don't really like that platform too much. It's yeah, you're not gonna catch me doing much on TikTok.
Time waster.
Yeah, but
It's vicious on there.
Oh my
I don't
God.
mind.
I don't even
I
mind
don't-
that, but it's like you can post something and all of a sudden you wake up to like 10,000 followers and you're like, yeah, what is this app? That's so weird to me.
Yeah.
So it gives me the, it's almost too easy. It creeps me out. I'm like, this is too good. So I'm going to stick with what I know, which is Instagram.
I'd be a little nervous if I had a trade on the show and they tell me their MySpace account. For all you older folks. And I want to definitely thank Thomas, the Valve Man. Here we go. He's got plenty of these stickers. Apparently he's going to send them out to everybody that's listening right now. No. I didn't say that. Thank you very much, Doll, for taking care of all this stuff. And it's been a blast, guys. Thank you so much. And I know everyone's busy and fitting the time to get into the show here and do this. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
By the way, I love these valves. Just saying. I use them.
Everybody uses them, no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing it right.
There you go. That's all we needed. That's all we needed.
I'll take that.
Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.